Welcome back, everybody, as we are joined here by Alex Ish Gambit to talk about that victory. Alex, first and foremost, why Lulu?
She looks cool.
I have to ask quite seriously, where did you learn it from? Where did you discover it from? What's the origin of the Lulu pick?
So there was one guy playing her in EU solo queue that is currently top 1 in solo queue on EU West. After that, I checked the Korean solo queue and there were 2 players. I followed their replays. I played against that guy on mid lane. And overall, I saw that Lulu is really strong. And after that, I decided to copy Korean rune page and masteries and try to play like that. And it went well.
I've got a question. When you say you discovered that Lulu was strong, what about her? What is it that attracted you to the champion? And with the rest of the composition that you played today, what is it that made it work?
So Lulu is really strong on mid lane. I was even possible to kill like Kayle 1 versus 1. Even though I was falling a bit behind in CS, it was more about I was feeling that Wukong is around mid lane all the time. And we didn't want to risk to fight them 2v2. And just like other lanes were winning. So my only thing is just saving the mid turret and not dying mid. And in mid-late game, I would have that utility that I need.
You say that it had a pretty hard time in lane versus the Kayle, yet they first picked it and you immediately locked it in. Were you going to play it no matter what, or does it work really well once you hit level 6?
So I was more like playing it no matter what, because it's cool to pick it first, because if someone else will pick it, they will tell that I'm copycat, and now I will tell that they are copycat.
Alex made it work in the LCS. Talk to me now about some of the itemization that you guys did throughout the game. Diamond Prox went for a bit more ability power on his Evelynn this week. He was going more attack damage last week. Genjis got very, very late Last Whisper. What drives the decision-making in buying items?
So Genji didn't want to die like I did all the time. So he decided to buy GA first, or no, like 3rd item. And as for Diamond, I don't know. He just experiments with the builds all the time, and he changes his mind. And I don't really know why is it happening and what is better. But I think overall, the AP jungle item is not that bad.
So just as a quick follow-up, as a team, do you guys not discuss itemizations on the champions you play, or do you just leave it to the individual players?
I feel like Diamond knows what to do and how to itemize, so we don't discuss it that much because people know what to do. The only thing I could do in this game, like build something like benches earlier, but you know, I didn't want to.
Yeah, tell us maybe a little bit about that, because you did pretty good in lane. You were brawling it out with the Kayle, and then come mid and even late game, they were grouping up. It was quite hard for you guys to engage upon them. So how did you work around that?
So we just needed time. We were scaling better in late game because we got like Lulu, Varus, and Trundle. And Trundle is scaling super good in late game. So overall, we were just waiting and gaining advantage. And it was them who needed to initiate all the time. But they did it really good with their comp, with Wukong and Annie flashing on me. And I think I could do a bit better with surviving. But overall, it did go well anyways.
So is Lulu mid something we're going to be seeing more out of Gambit and maybe some of the other teams?
So I think that I'm sure that some teams are already using it. I'm not sure what teams though. So we will see, and you know, it depends on like if some nerf will decrease her ability. But I think that that hero is strong, and everyone will start picking it up or thinking about it, and maybe we will see picks or bans of this hero soon.
Pix, which is also her companion, so that works very well. Last question, next game coming up is going to be the Super Hawk Crew as they take on Millennium. What are your guys' thoughts on that one?
So I'm not sure yet. Like that depended on picks overall, but Super Hot Crew looking really good. Not sure about Millennium. So I don't know, it's like 50-50.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think Millennium had a couple of questions they needed to answer earlier, and it didn't really step up. If Super Hot Crew keep playing like they did on Friday last week, they might be able to beat Millennium.
Yeah, very interesting matchup right there. Thank you very much, Alice. Keep bringing those picks out. We love that. And now let's send it back over to D-Man and Official.
Thank you very much, Shox and Trevor. It is time for the Super Hot Crew to battle against Millennium. And of course, for the Super Hot Crew, the long journey to the LCS has been a bit of a wild roller coaster ride. Let's take a closer look at their Cinderella story.
SK solidifies and puts themselves back into the LCS. And they just poured out their heart and soul against an SHC that did the exact same thing.
So after we lost to SK, we wanted to stay all together. We make a changement for Mr. Rales.
We wanted to create a team for Coke League and try to win everything we can and then qualify for LCS.
I think it's kind of like a stroke of luck, really. They all split from me and I went back to my old team, and then suddenly it's like, oh, we can qualify again.
We get told like in 3 days we're gonna play with NIP and MOM. We had such short time between everything.
I'm like, God, I know, we've done this before. It's crazy, it's just like constant swing of emotions.
It was all about that League of Legends Championship Series spot, and the Super Hot crew are in.
When we qualified for the LCS, there were a lot of people approaching us. Suddenly everyone cares for you who didn't give a damn about you before.
Like we sat down together and we said, this is the deals we can get and we need to find out who is the best for us. The team decided we should go with being our own brand.
We didn't want to play under whatever tag, we wanted to keep our name. Basically my summoner name for a long time in solo queue was Super Hot Fire. We had to make a ranked team and I had to make it, so I just found out this name and it stayed.
We came in a Super Hot crew and we thought, well, if other organisations have done it before, why can't we? So Miss Shy and others decided to band around other people who wanted to get involved.
We did some research. When I found out he has a lot of experience in esports, I was approaching him.
Super Hot Crew had like many possibilities to join other organizations, but I said, hey, esports is my passion, it's not about the money.
I'm sure you can get more money and more sponsors from well-known teams, but if you make your own, then you've got independence.
We knew it was gonna be hard to be one of the top teams in LCS.
Our manager told us, you got 3 months in LCS, just enjoy your time and do your best.
We know we're gonna face hard days and we will go through them. And the only one who can ever decide if we should change something or not, that's us. Like no one else can interfere.
You have so many possibilities to do your own stuff, and you can especially focus on the needs of the players, not the organization.
Like if we wanna grow as a brand and get more fans, then it's up to everyone.
Everyone works for one goal, and this makes us become like much closer than before.
I would say it's more friendly, familial than if you would join a random organization. I feel really more involved in our team and in our organization because it's ours.
If you've got to start from the bottom, from the ashes or whatever, then yeah, you can build your own legacy, I guess.
I personally trust our players and our team manager.
When you are your own brand and when you got no pressure from the organization, I think you are a better team actually.
They've done it! There's a teleport into the inhibitor. Mimers on the Nexus. Super Hot Crew beating the Wolves.
You can look down at your shirt and look down at your sponsors and think we accomplished this.
Very impressive stuff there. And honestly, I've seen it across the years in esports, the fact that these teams, they do join these big organizations, feel the pressure and often just fall apart.
I mean, the thing is, when you join a new organization, you want to show to them they chose the right team. You want to show to them they can believe in you. So that's why you get this, like, even though they tell you, don't worry, we're not going to judge you on the results, you know they are, and you really want to prove to them that you're the right choice.
Maybe we're seeing that with some teams in the league right now. Of course, the Super Hot Crew, though, are coming into week 4 after 2 great wins last week over SK Gaming and Copenhagen Wolves.
Yeah, and the big surprise for me was the fact they played as a team. Like, everything worked for them. The solo laners, we called them out last week. They really stepped up. Especially Mimar impressed me so much. He had a KDA of 19. That is an amazing KDA to pull out, especially because he was hit so hard in the first few weeks. He really stepped it up. And both him, Mixa, and Mr. Rales were all on the Hot Player of the Week lineup. And that really shows how the whole team stepped up and how, you know, everyone just played so well.
And of course, this was a team that had 4 members in the lowest KDA for their spots, so they really stepped it up. But where does it put Super Hot Crew now? Do we believe they can keep on winning the games? And you know, Mr. Rales himself tweeted, "Can I make it the dream 3 wins in a row?"
I believe more in them as a team. I believe more in the solo laners right now. But the issue for me is still the fact that Impaler is so easy to ban out. He's only one on Pantheon and Vi, because he can do engages and he doesn't have to rely on his, you know, his his mechanics. So once he has these champions, he can make plays, but without them, we've only seen bad stuff coming out from both him and Super Hot Crew. So it's a bit too easy for me to actually make a game plan versus this team, and I think they really need to start improving it, or improving more the champion pools. For instance, I would like to see Wukong being picked up for Impaler. It kind of reminds me of both Vi and Pantheon in the way you can do the engages, you have good early game pressure, and you don't really rely on your skill shots.
I mean, we just saw the 5-man Cyclone, so it's a possibility. It worked almost for the Copenhagen Wolves. But of course, in the game versus Roccat, the lanes phased, it went well, but they felt a little off in the late game.
Yeah, we're talking about Millennium right here. The fact that it didn't work for them in the late game, teamfight-wise, is a big issue for Millennium, and it shows the issue we had with Millennium for such a long time. Curb, he was roaming around early game though, setting up a lot of kills. It kind of stopped. As soon as teamfights were there, he went from 3-0 to 3-3. And everything just kind of went to nothing. I do like, though, the move they did with Aranea early game, putting him in the top lane to help Kevin out, get that lane snowballing, because it meant that you had both the mid lane and the top lane snowballing. It didn't work out for them, again, because once you get to teamfight, it's not the same Millennium that we used to see. Creaton, though, I like the fact that he reminded me a bit of the Creaton from last season. He was very aggressive on Tristana. We saw him jumping into teamfights, trying to pick up kills and get out again. So I like that way of playing from Creaton.
Just make sure he doesn't break his hand this time around, of course. But Millennium, they had a good early game, like you say, but they became a little overconfident. This is something we've seen from them before, and they started giving free kills to Roccat and just letting them get ahead.
And this is the thing about Millennium. The shot calling, once they got out the laning phase, is not good enough. They went in, for instance, for the red buff and actually gave 2 free kills just to try and take away a red buff at like 25 minutes in the game. It doesn't really make any sense, and it's a very risky play. And they rely so much on the individual play from these players, because once you're in the team fights, the synergy is not there, the teamwork is not there, and they're not focusing the same targets.
Well, they are the two teams. That's what we think they are anyway. Let's see how it develops, because let's check out those starting lineups. On the blue side, it is going to be the Super Hot Crew. It is Mima in the top lane. Great series from him last week. Impaler in the jungle. Another great series from him last week. Moops and Mr. Rales alongside is Mixer is the duo lane, and they've all played so well last week.
They all played so well, and it's time now for Millennium on the red side to actually step up their game. We have Kevin in the top lane, we have Aranea out in the jungle, we have Curb in the mid lane, Creaton as the AD carry, and Jerry on support.
Well, these are the only 2 remaining teams that have yet to face each other on the Rift. And so for this match, well, we thought we'd look in the jungle for our featured matchup, which is Impaler up against Aranea.
And this is actually 2 junglers that, you know, for me they're very similar. They play the same kind of champions, they have the same kind of play style, and they also want to be the one who makes the calls and the plays early game. But sadly, both of them have been weak points for the teams. We have to say it as it is. They haven't been able to step up really, except for maybe the last week for Impaler's side. But before that, they don't really have the impact they need. And that's an issue, because we're in a meta right now where you really need the jungler to do a lot of work.
And of course, last week we saw Impaler playing Pantheon to great effect, and it's kind of Aranea's champion as well.
Yeah, both of them, they really like this Pantheon, and it works for Impaler at least the same way as it's hard to say, as Vi, because you can do the early kills and also you can do the engage. Like, he wants to jump in with his Skyfall and then start the whole fight, make the call. And he doesn't even have to, you know, rely too much on his mechanics. He set himself in the interview how his mechanics, that's not what he's known for. The question for me, though, is will Pantheon now just be another must ban versus Super Hot Crew? Yes, your jungler, he's taking 2 bans, but then he's pretty much gone. Like, will we see Pantheon being banned away, or will they actually let it go through?
What about Aranea, though, from Millennium? And of course, you know, we've talked about how he is kind of the shot caller. Both junglers are the shot callers for the teams, and he's been making maybe some wrong calls lately.
Yeah, his calls has been a little bit off. Very aggressive calls. I mean, it's good if you can execute it, but if you kind of keep falling behind on it, it doesn't work. He's been very busy with his exams, and he's actually finally done with them now, so he can really start practicing. He has his gaming house, he's moving in there, and I expect to see Aranea really step it up now and become the leader that Millennium needs, and the one they had last season. The guy who always walked in front and made sure everyone was feeling all right and everyone was confident in themselves.
Well, we are about to get into picks and bans, so what do we make of these 2 teams? Obviously, we've talked about the fact that Vi, Pantheon, these are big keys for the junglers. But what do we make of everyone else? We saw Kurt playing very well in the early game. up against Roccat.
Yeah, as soon as Kerb gets something he can roam on, like a Gragas or LeBlanc, he's always an issue for other teams to deal with in the early game. So either he's going to be the target, or they're just going to go straight for the junglers and make sure that, you know, Aranea can get maybe an Elise, and then Super Hot Crew is kind of left with nothing.
Well, Yasuo banned out. I'll tell you why I'm giggling, because earlier on when a couple of teams were turning up, I heard a lot of noise coming from Millennium Room, so I just had to go in and talk to them. And basically it was Kevin. He just landed a 5-man ult from Yasuo. He's just like, oh, just got everything. So obviously that's been banned out. Also, Annie and Kassadin being taken away. Ziggs, Morgana, and Gragas. So lots of mid laners and supports being focused on this time around.
And not a single jungler being ganked away.
Yeah.
Vi is open, Pantheon is open, Elise is open. It's going to be actually very fun to see what Super Crew goes with. Will they take the Elise like most teams? Or do they more want, you know, the heavy engaged one for Impaler's side? The Gragas ban, Moops has kind of been a Gragas only player for a long time, and teams know this, so the ban is actually very smart.
Well, I mean, all of the bans from Millennium is Moops. Every single one. You think of the champions he's played over the last time, he was famous for Morgana, famous for Gragas, pulled out Ziggs and he started learning that. Now what's he going to be left with?
Well, he has Orianna. Kind of reminds of the same kind of champions. You can farm a lot, and he also has Kayle. He played it last week, and actually it went pretty well. It's the same kind of champion. You farm a lot early game, you get strong for the team fights. If they don't lock it in here, I haven't actually seen Kerb play Kayle before, so I'm not sure if he's gonna pick it up. However, though, Morgana here, they love to play Morgana Caitlyn bot lane, like Morgana support, and just shove the wave constantly. That's what's like Tristana. She's very weak against these heavy shove combos. So this actually opens up for Millennium going Tristana once again, if they were happy about it for first game.
Caitlyn was locked in. Talk about, obviously, that he did play Tristana. To varying effects. We're still not sold on that one yet. It looks like it will be Thresh as the opener, of course. Does leave a couple of options open, but the Annie being banned out, of course, means that Mixer, who himself went for Morgana as support before, maybe was thinking about that, but of course that was banned out. Maybe, I mean, is that a respect ban? I mean, it did do very well for Super Hot Crew up against Roccat last week.
It's a ban saying, we know you don't really play Annie. We're now picking away Thresh, which is the counter to Leona. So what is he going to go with? Is he going to fall back on a Nami? He's played it before. Or did he actually start practicing Annie? He didn't play it before. He never played it before in LCS. So I like the way Millennium is actually doing this, trying to shut down Mixer and also make it harder for Mr. Rales to do anything in the lane then. He did early pick the Kate lane, so he's going to be fairly safe and will be able to farm. Lucian coming in on the other side, basically saying Lucian Kate lane, they kind of go even in the lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically saying we didn't believe in Tristana either earlier on.
I'm actually very happy that didn't go in for the Tristana here. She's a very weak pick against Caitlyn. Oh yeah, the Sonar. We played it as well before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it works. I actually always liked Sonar versus Thresh because you have so much poke on him. As long as you can dodge the hooks, he can't really do anything to you, and you can just constantly poke him down. And if he does engage on you after level 6, you can counter engage with your ultimate right in the face of him and a team.
There is Pantheon being locked in, so it's Impaler going for that one. It worked very well for him last week. 2 wins on it. It means that Aranea won't have it available. Did also see a LeBlanc being hovered over by Kerb just at the end there.
I think so. He actually instant locked it in. Kerb on these assassins where he can make plays. He really wants to punish moves. However, Orianna is actually very good versus LeBlanc, so they kind of open up for moves to go that route. Maybe trying to scam a little bit away from the Kayle. Pantheon pick. I think Super Hot Crew is one of the only teams who's actually not taking Elise when it's up, because they want to play to what they know they're good at, and they want to play with, and he doesn't even pick Elise. Anyhow, they want to play to where they know Impaler is good. They want him on the champions he can do engages on, and where he can do the early, like very aggressive plays.
Well, Elise was used by Aranea in the previous game against Roccat, but he's gone back to Lee Sin. It's a champion he played very well throughout the summer, and this time around going to try and work it against the Super Hot Crew.
Now the question is, will Aranea stay around the mid lane like we've seen him in the past weeks, constantly getting Kerb going, or will he shift the focus again more towards the top lane and try and get Kevin rolling and, you know, want Kerb to kind of win his lane alone? That's actually very interesting to see. I expect the bot lane to be kind of left alone though, because they will do fine with this fresh Lucian setup.
Well, maybe the question's going to get answered here. Does Moves play Kayle? Maybe he will be. It's an interesting pick. I was going to say that's a dangerous pick because Kayle can be very squishy early on, especially against a LeBlanc. It will be an Orianna falling back on that one, and it's going to be a Mundo in the top for Maimer.
Yeah, Maimer just constantly picks this Dr. Mundo. Yes, he loses the early game a little bit, but once you get to team fights, he's very strong. Orianna pick versus LeBlanc, very smart. You can get a few skills in your shield early game, and you can just prevent all the damage from the blind and just poke him out constantly. Warwick. Kevin actually went for Warwick.
He did go for Warwick.
And I quite like that versus Dr. Mundo because you get very tanky late game, you have a lot of impact, both is running teleport so they can follow each other, and this is pretty much a free farm lane for Warwick because Mundo won't be able to poke him down.
It seems that the Millennium players are happy with it. Big smiles on their faces. They got a cheer from the crowd, of course, and everyone's locked in. So what do we make of these two teams? I mean, this is something we've seen before from Super Hot Crew. A couple of champions that actually, I think, will synergize very well.
Yeah, they will synergize very well together if they can get the right engage, you know. Grand Skyfall coming in and then followed up by a Zone ultimate from Mixa. We saw him flash ultimate last time. It was so good. I have to kind of touch on something I said myself just before with the bot lane. Caitlyn, Zone actually, if they get an early push going, they will pretty much force Lucian and Fresh to lose a lot of CS at the turret and therefore force Aranea to come down and help. So I expect them to actually draw a lot of attention early.
Well, you've heard what Deficio and myself have to say about this one, but let's check what you guys at home think. According to the numbers, it is 52% of you have voted for the Super Hot Crew. I'd love to check. I think that may be the first vote that Super Hot Crew have won.
Yeah, it was one of the first very close votes we actually have. So far it's been very one-sided. I like the fact that people actually believe in both teams. This is a Super Hot Crew with confidence and a Millennium team who have to win. Like, they literally have to win this game.
Well, you heard Alex's opinion. He thought the Super Hot Crew may well take this one as well because they've certainly been playing very well. So as we move into this game, what are you expecting to see from this one? We've seen Millennium winning out well in the lane phases, but also Super Hot Crew do very well in the lane phase as well.
Yeah, both these teams are actually very good in the early game. I expect them to rely a lot on the junglers, and I expect them to be very aggressive early, try and set up kills. The top lane, that's more or less the farm phase lane, so they have to focus elsewhere. The bot lane could be a potential one with the Lantern from Jerry onto a no mobility Sonar and try and shut her down early if Mr. Alice and Mixa go for the early push and trying to pressure the turret early.
The final game of the night underway. Super Hot Crew as the blue team and Millennium as the red. And Millennium, well, they were famed for doing this. They did it a number of times over in Brazil, and Mr. Rales may well get caught out straight away. Is anybody going to flash engage? No, Jerry was far too far away from that one.
It was actually very smart by Mr. Rales to run out in the river, because normally you stay in the bush and wait, and then Fresh can try like a blind hook. If he managed to hit you, you're pretty much dead, or at least forced to use a flash. This time he just went straight out. He knew he would be there before Millennium, and he spotted him coming in.
And looking at the two teams, who do we see? A level 1 fight, if they were to go 5v5, because think back to Brazil, think back to Sao Paulo, think how Millennium got caught out pretty heavily by the team reading them, knowing exactly what they were going to do, and all face checking that bush.
Yeah, the only CC on Millennium side would be the hook from Jerry, but then he doesn't really provide any damage from there. I can see Kevin facing Impaler.
Oh, and he's going to catch on towards Kevin. Kevin's going to take a lot of damage before he gets that turret. He won't go down, I don't feel, from this one, but you can see lots of damage done to him. He's going to back to tower.
Yeah, well, again, back to the level 1 part. None of the teams really have a great invade setup. However, I like the fact that Super Hot Crew has a bit more damage level 1, especially Zone actually provides quite a lot of damage if she has stacked up a power cord while waiting in the bush.
Cleaver being thrown out, not quite landing. Gerber, he's picked himself up a Crystalline Flask instead of a Doran's Ring in that mid lane. It does look like Impaler, who was standing around that red buff, will be starting off on the blue with the help from Mima, and no lane changes coming around from either side.
Now we will have to see if Millennium can actually punish moves now that they banned away 3 of his champions, or at least 2 of them, and the Morgana. Because Kurt really has to win this lane. Even though he's against Orianna, which is generally the very safe pick, he also picked up a barrier on move, so he really don't want to risk dying.
Okay, let's talk about this bottom lane pairing, because Mr. Rales and Mixa have been getting a lot of first bloods early on. Who's going to hit level 2, in which case, who's going to go for that kill?
I mean, Super Hot Crew, they don't want to go for this. They're going to get the early level 2, but they just want to keep shoving the lane. You can't really go all in at level 2 with a Sonar and a Caitlyn. You don't have any CC to bring. So they just want to do this. Constantly shove down the lane, and if they can get the wave to hit the turret while Creaton is still level 1, it's very hard for him to actually see us.
They're actually getting very good poke early on there. They seem to be Creaton standing, taking that Piltover Peacemaker full on in the face.
And this forces Aranea to at least pay some attention to the bot lane. He doesn't have to necessarily gank it, but at least show himself down there, make Super Hot Crew back off, so, you know, the bot lane for Millennium can get some farm back.
Well, it is Aranea that always goes looking for those kills, and Impaler, we'll see whether he reacts to them. Millennium do clear out that wave and push it back on. We are seeing both junglers in the bottom half of the map right now.
And he is moving down. There's no Lantern on Jerry yet, so he has to rely on the fact that he can safeguard to one of them and then start it from there. Impaler's actually moving away from the bot lane, so he won't be able to help if a gank should happen.
So Millennium, will they manage to go for this one? You can see they're starting to push the lane out, and I think honestly, Super Hot Crew might read this one a little bit early because suddenly Millennium being aggressive here, RNA already backing away.
Yeah, they expected it. Also the fact that Jerry started moving a little bit forward, he didn't try and stay back. So they kind of figured he's nearby, they didn't push the wave. They might actually just start doing it again now and force RNA to come down again and constantly be annoying.
Keep him pressured maybe in that jungle. Mimer in this top lane, you can see he's shoving Kevin in towards the turret, but Kevin's not really going to have too many problems on Warwick. He can farm on the tower pretty easily.
Yeah, and he's going to actually get a lot of CS right here because Mundo can't pressure him enough to stop him from CSing on the tower. That's why you need like a Renekton to constantly be around them. This is just a farm lane.
A farm lane, it's a farm lane. Kevin slightly edging out. This middle lane though, Moops up against Kerb. Orianna versus LeBlanc. It's a lane we've actually started seeing more of in 2014 season.
Yeah, because LeBlanc became this popular pick. A lot of the assassin-type players like Bjergsen and Hein NA, they love to play it, and they've really shown how much you can do with it. And it also means it opens up for the Orianna, the safe version against this LeBlanc. We do actually see Kerb being very aggressive and having a small CS lead here in the start. Impaler is closing in from the side though.
LeBlanc is a very tricky champion to close down, but again, that ward giving vision straight away and thinking of maybe putting a burst on Impaler himself there, which is why he backed off.
And Aranir, he's lurking around his top lane, but he doesn't have a red buff, so they won't be able to do anything to Mimer. And as you said yourself, spotted out by ward from Impaler's side, nothing really happening. Both are just going to go back to farming. If Impaler can hit an early level 6, he can do a very nice surprise gank for him.
Okay, so we've seen the Mundo and Warwick before in this top lane. How does this stand when it comes to team fights? We know what Mundo's going to do. He's just going to be walking around this big tank. He's going to have Spirit Facade, Sunfire, Cape, health coming out his backside. Whereas Kevin's going to be slightly different, but he's just going to be lifestealing. Is it going to be the pain? Is he going to focus Mr. Rales? What's he going to go with his, I can never remember the name of it, Infinite Duress?
Yep, exactly. Well, basically with the Warwick, you have the ability to single out a target, have LeBlanc following with him and pop this target. And at the same time, if you do manage to, you know, win the fight, the chase potential of Warwick with his, is it called Bloodlust? Whatever it is, Bloodhunt?
Yep.
To constantly chase after Super Hot Crew and try and get more kills. And what also Warwick brings, and it's actually something people forget, he gives attack speed to the entire team if they are around him when he pops his W.
See how it works out for them as it is. Not a great deal of aggression coming out. Looks like J-Ree may well try and come down and force something on towards Super Hot Crew. Here comes RNA, the lantern's thrown out. They are going to go for Mixer. Does flash away very nicely, but he's going to get closed in. It should be First Blood. Who will take it? It will be Creaton that finally gets it out.
And just as we talked about, Super Hot Crew was pushing up the lane, constantly being a pain for Millennium. They had to call Aaron here to come down. This time there was a Lantern on Jerry, so it's a very easy gank to set up. And there's so low mobility on Sona, you can't really do anything once Fresh walks in your face.
Moops getting bursted once again by Kerb in this mid lane, keeping the pressure on him. So Millennium get First Blood. Will they follow it through? This is something they've done quite often. It works out very well. They have very good early game, but they tend to get a little overconfident, and it is RNA that tends to go for it. And Impaler's going to go face to face with Kevin, sees him out there, doesn't fancy it.
That was so good. He actually spotted out Kevin because he was level 6, moving for the gank. Arnier was on the other side of the Wraith. They could have collapsed the 3 people onto moves, and they were trying to, you know, get Kirby even more rolling. He's actually already winning the lane by himself, CS-wise. That's very impressive. Or maybe also a little bit Moops not playing too well so far.
RNA is spending a lot of time in this mid lane, trying to get this gank on towards Moops. Maybe it's Kurt making the calls, maybe suggesting it, but we see this bottom lane. Now that Millennium have got that First Blood down here, they're starting to be a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, and Super Crew has to be very careful because there's no flash on Mixer, so if RNA should be there again, or even if Mixer should be caught by Hook himself, he doesn't really have any chance of escaping if it goes wrong.
LeBlanc making a move down to bottom, but instead it's just warding out that red buff. Moops will be picking up the blue. Going to be gifted across towards him, which means he will be able to keep Kerb at bay for a little bit longer, who himself hasn't actually got the blue buff yet.
No, he hasn't picked it up yet. Arnier started his red buff and then he moved all the way down, so he could be in the bot lane as fast as possible early game. Impaler will hit level 6 though when he picks up his own red buff, and then we can actually really start seeing the ganks, and we can see how well Arnier actually reads him. If he's nearby when the Grand Skyfall comes in, he can maybe turn it around, especially in this mid lane, where Kerb is looking very strong so far.
That single award that was placed by Millennium And of course the one by Aranea just giving all that vision. They know that he's on red buff, they know the rotation, they know that Moops is sticking around in the middle. So all the information given across. Kevin taking a look towards the blue buff. It is already gone, buddy. You're too slow on that one.
It is still a very nice ward versus Pantheon because, you know, you don't really want to ward just in the river because he's going to jump across it. So with this ward right here, you might be able to spot Impaler doing a long Grand Skyfall into his lane, and it's actually making him a bit more safe.
I will help the crowd. You pointed towards the blue buff ward.
Yeah.
Pointing towards something on the screen doesn't help the hundreds of thousands that are watching. But it's good that you do that. As it stands, Grand Skyfall is available now on Impaler, but he has no help down here, which means he's just going to clear out, make sure the wave doesn't get taken by the tower.
And first item by Curb, full-on aggression, needlessly large rod. He's just going to go straight in the face of whoever is coming close to him. If he gets the early DFG, he can really start setting up kills, and we actually see him moving towards the top lane.
Yeah, and there's no ward coverage here. Mima may well get caught out by this one. Has got his ultimate available, but you see the Infected Cleaver landing. That's going to be the infinite address. The burst down. He's just a stagnant target, and Mima will drop from this one. Oh, will he? He's going to try and get away. The blood hunt from Kevin. He should get the burst down. He's onto the tower. Is there going to be no Grand Skyfall's coming out from Impaler? But he's already gone down. It's just simple defensive duties now for Impaler.
And a nice roam coming from Curb. He does it every single game. If he wins his lane, he will make plays everywhere else. And the nice thing about this one, the stun from Warwick came in where Mundo was actually on the right side of the creeps. So he could hit the chain from LeBlanc without having to dodge around these creeps everywhere.
And of course, we see Aranea immediately setting up, defending the lane, making sure the farm doesn't go to waste, keeping all the advantages. The teamwork that you see from these LCS teams is always top-notch. And at the moment in the lane phase, it's going Millennium's way.
Yeah, and this is what Millennium does every single game. Oh, hook coming in on Rallis.
Hook onto Mr. Rallis. Oh, Crescendo completely missed it. Actually, I think he caught Kraton as he managed to dodge out the way. Mr. Rallis trying to turn around. Great pilt over Peacemaker there and turning the pressure back onto Millennium.
Yeah, the ultimate from Mixa just caught Kraton and actually prevented anything from happening. Instead, Super Hot Crew actually won this trade. They don't have the ultimate now though. If there should be a potential dragon fight or a fight in the bot lane, Sona is going to be rather weak.
Millennium looking to try and make plays, safeguard on towards a ward there, but Aranea is going to get caught out. He kicks his Mixer. Mixer in trouble, no flash available. As he has, can he get out of it? Instead, it's going to be Aranea focused. No! They've let him go! Because then comes Kevin. Kevin teleporting in, Impaler's in trouble. Shockwave getting pulled by Moops, but it's not going to be enough to save him down. Impaler drops down. Kevin's going to get focused on Mr. Rallis, trying to kite him around the tower. Has he got the damage on Kevin? No! He just gets baited into it, and J-Re picks up a kill. Now Moops is in trouble. Mima joins way too late in this fight.
Way too late with the teleport from Mima. Had he come down earlier, he could have prevented some of these kills from happening. Instead, Millennium just pick up so many kills, and now Mima might even be caught out.
Mima in trouble. Oh, the death sentence's not going to land, but J-Re is sticking around, finally backing off on that bottom lane, creating a lot of plays. 3-0-1 Kraton.
And now, talking back to the communication part, there was no ultimate on Sona, so they called Aranea to come down to start the fight, and Mixa went the completely wrong way around, got caught out, just died pretty much for free, and then everything started because a great teleport from Kevin came down, and they could just chase it up. I'm not sure why Mima didn't follow him with teleport.
Impaler's been late to the fight. Last time around he played Pantheon, he was countering so nicely, but this time around he was just too late. That Grand Skyfall is available, but not a great deal that he can do with that anymore. Spectral Cloud picked up by Mima in that top lane, who was really redundant in that fight, finally chugs his way up there, and again, ward being placed by Aranea on that blue buff, ready for it when it spawns.
They want to fight for it, especially because Curb is so strong in the mid lane. He's more or less able to pop anyone at this point. So if they can set up a 3v3 scenario here, where Warwick picks a target with his ultimate, and then Curb goes straight on it, they can take the blue buff and, you know, keep the dominance going. Millennium, they're so good in the early game, and if it wasn't them, I would actually say, you know, they can snowball this game, but we have seen them throw these leads before.
I like your confidence in Millennium.
I don't have it yet.
We don't have it yet. Oh, Death Sentence being missed up from J-Re. A good poke back and forward. We do see Impaler, but look at that. That ward that was placed deep, like you said earlier on. We saw Kevin doing exactly the same. They have full vision of him, so they know Grand Skyfall's available, which is why you see them playing so cautious in the lane.
Yeah, Millennium really shows they know how to play with Pantheon and against Pantheon. They're constantly making sure he can't do anything. He's actually going in now.
Grand Skyfall Crescendo onto Kraton. The stamp's going to land on him, but he manages to take the blind ladder away straight away. Blind ladder, I don't even know where that come from. Lantern is the word I was after. A blind ladder, maybe. But we see countering the moment he was away. Arenair comes in, steals the blue.
Yeah, and Curb wasn't even there, so he just went in for it himself. Curb instead roamed to the bot lane. He might catch out Impaler.
Impaler's going to get caught, burst out towards him. Oh, look how much damage Curb just does. And Impaler gets popped. Now Mr. Rale's in trouble. This is all going Pete Tong for Super Hot Crew. It is going to be Kraton picking on towards Mixer. There's another kill. Kraton gets it.
And this seriously couldn't go any worse for Super Hot Crew. No matter what they're doing, Millennium is there to punish them. You have a 13 minutes DFG LeBlanc instantly one-shotting your tank. Millennium, if they keep up this pressure and keep taking these kills, the buffs from Super Hot Crew, there's no way they can actually get back in the game.
Big objectives being picked up by Millennium here. Great start from them. 8-1 up in kills. Dragon going down. Tower being pressured on the bottom. Kraton's just keeping their waves, pushing in towards it. Doesn't want to take the tower down yet because they're doing so damn well in that lane. 4-0-3 now, Kraton.
Yeah, there's no reason for Millennium to break the laning phase. If they can keep all the turrets up and just stay like this and just roam around, they can just keep picking up the kills. If they do take down the bot turret, they have to, rotate somewhere else. And that's not what they want, especially with this combo.
Zero impact from Impaler here. Walks past the ward in middle. Arenair says, thank you very much. I'm going to take your red away now. So he's taking the blue and the red from Super Hot Crew's jungle.
And I love this way of playing from Arenair. This is what we need to see. He's really stepping up. He's constantly making sure that Impaler is getting nothing, no buffs. And he's been doing the ganks as well. He did do the early game gank. They gave them the kill they needed. And then 4-0-3 on Kraton. He just said, thank you very much. I'm just going to take it from here.
Now we're on to the blue buff, which is going to be given across the curb. I'm pretty sure on that one. Super Hot Crew, well, they have to make some plays now, don't they? Because they've fallen so far behind. 4,000 gold, 14 minutes in. It doesn't sound a big number, but it's a giant number at this margin of the game.
It is huge. They need the next Grand Skyfall from Impaler to give them a kill or a tower. They need some sort of reward, or Millennium can just keep doing this over and over again. They're stronger in every lane, every single lane so far. And if there should be a fight, Super Hot Crew pretty much have to outplay them at this point.
Yeah, and just look how cautious they're being in that bottom lane now. The moment they saw the duo pairing of Jair and Kraton, they completely stepped away. In fact, they're completely leaving the lane. They're heading off towards the middle.
Yeah, they're going to go here and maybe try and pressure somewhere else. But against Curb, he's going to try and pop Mr. Raleigh instantly as you see him. He's level 8.
Well, Moops too far away from that one. Curb easily reading that. He's got his flash, and LeBlanc is so mobile anyway. They're going to maybe see if they can look at that. They're going to use this is a desperation play. They're trying to take him low and push to the lane, but it's so easy to spot.
Yeah, and Jerry already moved, Mixer recalled, so it's only 3 people mid, and they don't really do anything with this other than saying we can't actually stay bot lane at this point. If we stay bot lane, we will die 2v2 or to a gank, so we have to do something else. And right now, they're just doing nothing. They're getting no CS on the Cade lane and no levels either.
Oh, that death sentence dangerously close to Moops' foot there, nearly pulled him back in. No, that's trying to give Mr. Rales everything. He's having to jungle now.
Yeah, jungle Cade lane actually. No, he's gonna rotate to the top lane. They just try the next lane now. Didn't work in mid lane. Let's go top, see if we can pressure down this Warwick. Millennium should be able to take somewhere else, especially in the bot lane.
And we should explain this, because you can see down the bottom lane, if we take a quick... Oh, I tell you what, Impaler's going to find Kerp, but he's already had a problem with that one before, realizing the damage burst that could come out of Kerp. He's not too worried at the moment, looking towards that blue buff, instead he's going to come across. But what I was about to focus on is that bottom lane. The problem with this bottom lane is that they were freezing it, and Super Hot Crew could do nothing about it. Mix is dead.
Yeah, he's pretty much dead. Popped. Moves, he might actually try and close in on this one, but Curb should still be able to almost 1v2, and Jerry is there as well with the Lantern. But as you talk about the bot lane, when they were freezing it, it's simply saying, if you get just close to any CS right here, we're going to try and land a hook with Jerry and just instantly kill you, because our AD carry is so strong compared to yours.
And they're just leaving Kraton. He's now having his wicked way with the bottom lane. He's got that bloodthirst, he's got the sheen, he's building up all the damage he wants, taking towers for free.
Yeah, and we see the Grand Skyfall coming in.
Is it going to land on towards Curb? Curb just walks away, does manage to get stunned up. Oh, and look at the speed he's got. Takes the Lantern. Thank you very much, Jerry.
They might, no, not even a minion wave in mid lane. They can't pressure this. Arenair's top lane now. If Kevin goes on to Mr. Rales, he's going to have a very hard time surviving.
Well, we do see Impaler heading up there, but of course, Grand Skyfall was just used out. Ward placement coming out from Kevin. No worries there. Kevin has just been untouched in his top lane. Infinite duress on towards Mr. Rales. That's going to kick in towards him. The kick actually taking him to the tower. Great crescendo coming out, but Kevin goes through him. He's like roadkill on the tower there, and now Mixer putting pressure on him. Kevin just walks away, no problem.
There's really nothing Mixer can do. He did land his ultimate. Impaler wasn't nearby. It's been the story of Impaler this game. He's always been on the back foot. He didn't have his ultimate because he tried to use it in mid lane. So instead, Millennium picks up another kill. And right now for Super Hot Crew, things are just looking so hard, and they can't even stay in the lanes.
They're trying to create something, anything, but it's just not working for them. Blue buff is going to get picked up. Not even going to be able to smite that one away, Impaler. It didn't have available, so there's no chance of that. And Kurt hanging around thinking, oh, I've burst him before. I'd love to take another support and get myself a free kill.
Look at Curb's items. He's almost having a death cap completed. We had 18 minutes. He's almost having a death cap and a DFG. That is one shot to everything.
Impaler.
You're dead.
Dear Impaler. Oh dear Impaler. It got blocked by his passive, but I think it's going to go down. Oh, the shockwave turn around! Is it going to be enough? Moop's going to try chasing Nilsson. Flashes onto it, feels it. Yes, he gets it. Well, something for nothing at least.
And actually, this is what they need. Millennium, they're known to be overconfident. If they can manage to get some free kills here and get maybe back in the game from Super Hot Crew's side, Moops is actually doing fairly well. This kill really helps him as well. If he can get some items and actually land a good shockwave in a team fight, they might be able to come back. It is still looking very hard, and Millennium really have to lose this game by themselves.
They may well do that. They've done it before.
The TP coming in behind.
Oh, going to be a flash on towards him. Puts the box down, shocking up Mima. Mima on that tower. Look at J-Reed. They've got to realise the fact that he's on that turret. Moop's taken so low now. Kevin trying to work him out. J-Reed will go down, but Moops is going to follow. Now Mima's going to be the next focus coming in. At the bottom is going to be Kratos focusing towards him. Doesn't manage to get the damage down. The culling coming out. It's going to wipe out the minions. Kevin can tank this tower for days. And it's going to be Kratos getting yet another kill. 5-0-3 now.
And the barrier actually gave Moops a kill. He was able to survive long enough to pick up the kill on Jerry. Again, this is what they need. Millennium quickly counter engages and they can take this turret.
Now they're going to go in towards Impaler. Aranea tanking out too much damage maybe. Heartseeker trying to keep him at bay, but again Mixer's going to get focused on. Oh, that kick would have landed. I'm pretty sure Aranea would have followed.
And Curb is here coming to the party from the side. He's not spotted by a ward. Will he try and go again on Impaler?
Oh, Impaler, you are in all sorts of trouble so often so far in this game, but it is going to be the dragon that Millennium focus on. Kerper's not done yet. He's still in that mid lane. He's looking for kills.
And he will just keep trying. Will Impaler? No, he doesn't really have anything to go in with except for his ultimate, certain death. He decides to just let the dragon go, wisely enough. Can he get this red buff though, or will him? No, but yeah, he can. Millennium actually packs off for once.
For once, they get themselves a buff. Blue buff will go across the curb. He's going to continue on his merry way. Rabadon's death cap almost completed. Social shoes, doesn't even need them. He's just popping people for fun right now. And of course, this is something we've seen with LeBlancs in the past. And, you know, considering we kind of wasn't sure on the LeBlanc picks in the first 2 weeks, it didn't really work out very well in Europe. Of course, we've seen it working well in North America, but, you know, the mid laners are not as good there. So as it is in Europe, it's not quite working out. Fuck with that one.
Right. I'm just gonna say that the Blanc for me is a very safe pick. You can take it if you actually feel you can win the lane, and then you can just have so much impact. That's also why they love, you know, we see it so much in NA where Bjergsen is just dominating everything. He's doing it on the Blanc most of the time.
Well, Aranea is going to be taking that red buff, looking for the kills. Kerp still lingering. See, he's just trying to stay in the blind spot, just around the corner so he can get some of that burst down, putting those wards in that mid lane, but nobody really falling for it anymore.
And when he actually recalls, he will be able to pick up this death cap and start working towards maybe a void staff, just to do even more damage. Generally, the entire team of Millennium, except for Aranea, is going, you know, very damage route right now because they are ahead and they want to keep snowballing it. The question for me though is, can Millennium actually hold on to this lead?
Well, it's a question we've always wondered many times. There's a question against Rockat. Crescendo completely misses from Mixer there, whiffed it totally, and now they focus Shockwave on towards Aranea and J-Reed. Ace in the holes coming through. J-Reed's taken low from this one. Impaler maybe able to land a spear on towards him, but no, Safeguard comes back in. Mima gets taken low. Kevin goes in and turns the lock in towards him, but he gets taken down nicely. Good to stun from Impaler there. Kratos low with the culling coming out. He's just massacring the team. Now he's going to get focused on. Impaler gets locked in there. That's going to be a great death sentence coming out. Now they're going to focus on towards Moops. Moops is going to have to run away from this one. It's a messy, messy fight from both teams and a 2-for-2 trade.
But respect to Super Hot Crew for actually going even in this fight. They managed to pick up an early kill. Very good shockwave by Moops. They chased it on a little bit too far, and Curb came in. He actually used his whole combo on Mimir at first and didn't kill him. That's why he couldn't really do anything until his cooldowns were ready again. He popped in and then he got the kills he needed.
Millennium, we mentioned how many times they've gone a little too aggressive, and great again dissonance coming out, but that will be the turret. Curb just trying to use his Mimic there to just try and bait something from Moops.
And the guy that was targeted by all the bans from Millennium is actually the one who has to really step up from Super Hot Crew. He's 3-1 and 2, he's almost completing his death cap, and he's actually having quite a lot of damage. If he can keep going like this, Super Hot Crew actually have a chance in the fights.
As it stands, Super Hot Crew trying their best to get themselves back into this one.
We have to touch a little bit on the fact that hard engaging from Super Hot Crew is very hard against this team. Very mobile Millennium. We saw before the flash ulti coming in from Mixer, dashed away by Kraton and jumped away by Curb. So it's going to be very hard for him to actually hit anything, especially also because Aranea can do the same. He can like dash to a ward.
It is going to be the Super Hot Crew this time around picking that blue buff up for Moops. That's important. He needs that. Kevin's going to take that top lane turret. One more swipe of his claw will do that. And then he will back away. But Millennium, they're looking for kills. Impaler's going to get found. He's going to get kicked. He's going to get punted. It's going to be Kirk coming in. And once again, destruction from Millennium.
Yeah, but Ducey actually in the bot lane.
Oh, wow. What are you doing, Mr. Rales? Out of position, trying to create anything, trying to get some farm. But Kraton and J-Ree just find him easily.
Yeah, just when Super Hot Crew actually had a good team fight, they just do two things so wrong. First of all, Impaler stays around just to throw a spear in the face of Aranea, even though there's a risk of Kirk being nearby, has to give up his life. Mr. Rales, he had to shove up the bot lane to try and get some farm, and he just got caught out of position.
Kick on Mixer, Lee Sin-Go, he had so many wards placed out there. Pretty making sure they get that full vision. It was put down a minute ago. Kraton now down in this bottom lane. It's J-Ree that's tanking out that turret. They're going to take this inner turret down, no problem about that. For Millennium, that takes it 5-0 in turrets.
And look what Millennium is doing right now. They're scared of team fighting, so they just spread out on the entire map, and they keep Curb in the mid lane, and then he can roam towards bot now. See J-Ree with the hook.
Flash death sentence on Mixer straight away. He does get the crescendo out at the end, but it's not going to get him a kill. Or will it? No! Sidestep, Mr. Rales, infinite duress. Mr. Rales runs away. Impaler's just trying to dodge away from that one, and it is going to be Kevin again taking all those tower hits. Millennium just creating everything they can against Super Hot Crew.
Yeah, just as we talked about, they want to spread out Super Hot Crew and then try and make a pick, especially with this LeBlanc and also an amazing flash hook coming in from J-Ree, setting everything up. They do have to back up though. They can't really push on this Orianna at the moment.
At the moment, it seems that Millennium are just in control of this game. 18-5 in kills, and I just want to quantify talking about these mid laners because, ladies and gentlemen, Bjergsen is European. I don't care if he's in North America right now. He's still a European player. We're keeping him.
He's still my little Bjergsen.
He's your little Bjergsen.
My little Bjergsen.
You've said different words to Bjergsen, I believe, on camera in the past. We won't go to that right now, though.
Definitely not. I really like Bjergsen. I'm very happy he's doing well in NA, and I wish the best for him.
But back to this game. Millennium are just totally dominating right now. Super Hot Crew, we've talked about before how they do well in the early game and then they manage to turn the game. This is probably another situation. I don't think we've ever seen them come back from a dangerous situation like this.
No, we haven't really seen them as a team pile up and make the comeback. But so far, they're actually doing the right thing. They're just constantly farming away like they should be doing. Millennium, I have a weird feeling right now that they're actually scared of trying to do too much. That's why they want to make these picks and then set something up. We haven't even seen them trying to get vision control of the Baron area. That's actually Super Hot Crew who's having the wards there. So Millennium right now, just waiting out a little bit, maybe waiting for a few key items on a certain champions.
So let's talk about this impact that Warwick's had in this game, because he's got a 100% win rate so far, looking like it's going to stay that way. This is the 3 of 3 now win rate for Warwick. Is this really a champion we're going to have to start looking at? Because again, infinite duress on Mimir. Mimir tanking out the turret, quite a lot of damage coming towards him, but nobody else really going to follow this up. Oh, that's as I say that. Millennium dash up that mid lane.
Oh, he's teleporting.
Oh, he's teleporting.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Nice. Warwick, I like him very much versus Dr. Mundo because it's this farm lane and you have to teleport. They are starting the Baron though, and there's a ward on it. Will Super Hot Crew react to this?
Well, Kraton trying to tank it out. Arenair's going to come in. They realize the rest of Super Hot Crew are going to have to come in for it. Are they going to be able to do anything about it? Crescendo's available. Flash is available. Can they get closed in the right time? Curb's taking pretty low on damage here. The rest of Super Hot Crew don't come in. But let him... Oh, Lee Syndrome kicks in for Arenair. He goes deep on this one. Kicks Mixer in towards that. Mixer not able to do anything. Crescendo was not even used. Arenair goes down. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Curb comes back around. Mr. Rales trying to kite him out. Uh-oh! That's trouble for Mr. Rales. He gets popped by Curb. Back and forth action, but it's another 2-for-1, and Kevin continuing put pressure on Super Hot Crew.
Again, kind of messy fight. Mixer got caught by the kick from Lee Sin and into a hook, and he just died from there. Oh, Jerry actually been caught out.
Jerry does get the death sentence down. The shockwave was used, but just not enough damage, even on the support.
Again, if you're so far ahead in gold as Millennium are right now, you need to be able to win this fight, you know, more convincingly. Right now, they don't really do too much other than try and pick 1 or 2 kills, and then we go back to the same mode. Oh, they're going in!
Oh, infinite duress. That's going to be a hoops down. Completely caught out once again. We talked about how this Warwick can play a part, and the moment he locks up, that's basically a dead even stun that everybody's just going to pounce on.
Yeah, and right as I'm saying, they don't really do anything. They boom, flash, stun, and they go in for this one. And this is what you can do with this Warwick LeBlanc combo. Always single out a target and just go for it. And you also have the Lee Sin to actually kick someone into you. So you have a lot of options of picking out champs. It's what they're doing now. I'm being a little bit too harsh on them, I feel. I kind of want to see them actually close out a game and show they know how to, you know, win games.
But we're only at the 28-minute mark now. Let's not get carried away with this one. They like to take it long.
Yes, but we are at such a huge gold lead at the 28 mark. That's what we need to keep in mind. They have every option of setting up kills, and they just need to do it and constantly, you know, keep Super Hot Crew on the back foot.
Well, cast your mind back to that 7 Wolves game in Brazil. It was with the Baron, 20,000 gold ahead, and they made a good attempt to throw in a game. It was not good for Millennium, and maybe that will start flickering in their mind if some of these plays start to go askew.
Yeah, it's definitely something they're actually thinking about. It's maybe why they're being, again, a little bit careful, because you really don't want or give away, you don't want to give away this lead. And they want to show to everyone, because Arenair was talking about in the interview before in the games, that we want to show we know how to close games. So that's really what they want to, you know, we can see here.
Not Super Hot Crew rushing into this one, but they're walking through a wave of pink wards, and Millennium have full vision. They are a little bit spread out, though. We can see Kraton now just coming back, and let's talk about Kraton. 906, Trinity Force, Bloodthirst, to Banshee's Veil, and Last Whisper already on it.
Yeah, he's so strong. We've been talking about Curb, how he can take out a target, but oh, Curb coming from side.
Curb's going to go in. It's actually Impaler. He caught on, not the burst that he was looking for, and he was really after Mixer.
Anyhow, Kraton, if there should be an extended fight, he's going to do so much damage. And Mr. Rales, he can't compete with it right now, and he's not supposed to.
Baron being started off again. This time around, Millennium looking to peel off once again, I feel. We do see the Super Hot Crew coming in. It's going to be Mima. Look at the damage on him. That is the tankiest member of the Super Hot Crew going down like a minion.
And he got caught off guard. The rest of the Super Hot Crew, hook coming.
Oh no, Mixer getting caught out there. Does pull out the crescendo, but it's too little too late. That's a double kill now for Kraton. He's focusing in. Shockwave only capsing on Kurt. Moves in all sorts of trouble. He's going to have another triple kill now for Kraton. Can he go for the quadra? They're going to keep on chasing. No. Bat sportsmanship. Oh, another hook comes out. Brilliant play from Jerry. That's a quadra kill. This game is over.
This has to be the end. Finally there, Millennium gets the fight they need, and they just pick up kill after kill. Great individual play coming in as well. You know, flash hooks, and Curb always coming from the side, setting something up. Millennium is finally showing how to close a game.
Well, they're not going to close it yet. They're going to take down an inhibitor turret. They're going to take down the inhibitor as well, but the respawn's now coming in because we are only at the 30-minute mark. Super Hot Crew respawning, but they are really up against it now. 25 kills to 6. 16,000 gold behind. They have got 3 turrets. That's something, but they're just in trouble. And it's going to be Millennium taking the inner on the top lane.
And the Baron didn't even go down, so they can go back to this one, try and bait Super Hot Crew out again. You see Mima, he might want to close in on this.
Well, they're going to try and chase. It's a 4v5 situation if the rest of Super Hot Crew were with them, but they're not. And Curb is just going to move back in. Oh, I tell you what. Moops has to be careful here because Curb is dangerous.
And Curb just wants someone to show down in the bot lane or nearby.
Mr. Morales not going to land his combo, not quite going to get it in there. They're going to try and chase on towards him. Ace in the hole will take him low. Have they got enough? They're going to get Grand Skyfall. Curb could go down here. They're going to get the stun. No, they're not. Because Curb just says, see ya.
Mixer's coming in though from the side. He has a lot of move speed right now. Doesn't decide to go for it.
Nope.
Curb gets
walks away. 6-1-7 Curb, and honestly, is just stomping anywhere he goes, but 13-0-6 on Creator.
Alright, here's two options for Super Hot Crew. Either we want to go out and try and fight for this Baron and try and stop it and, you know, pick the fight we want, or give them the Baron, wait in the base, just constantly wave clear, and then try and punish a mistake from Millennium. If they do manage to pick up this Baron though, which they will fairly uncontested, they just have every option to win this game now.
Well, Baron being starting off by 1 Millennium once again, but again, not really focusing on it, and they've no reason to go for Baron, honestly. They don't need it right now. They've been shoving through, but Baron buff, it's always a bonus.
Yeah, and when it's this easy to pick it up, the only thing that can go wrong is actually Pantheon trying to jump in and steal it, but he has no vision, so he has to guess. And if he actually manages to steal this, it's going to be steal of the year.
Well, blind man drop is a possibility. Jerry doesn't manage to land that death sentence. It will be the Baron picked up without contestation from Super Hot Crew.
Right. Now we have to give credit to Millennium. They are actually snowballing this game and they are doing everything right. So, like, now, they're actually doing what they should be doing. Got the Baron, got the kills they needed, and Creaton is just being an absolute beast on this
honestly,
Lucian.
but despite obviously Kurt creating plays himself, I feel it's actually Kevin, every time he uses Infinite Duress, he's getting on the right targets. He's going for moves. He's going for Mr. Alice. Impaler's obviously also been a call, but the moment it's basically a stagnant target. It's an easy kill.
It's an easy kill, and Kevin is so good right now at targeting or finding these easy kills. Also, his teleports early in the game really helped him set up some kills.
Mima just getting caught. He gets beaten down. It's a good defensive ball shield coming out from Moops now, but a Kerp goes aggressive. And Mixer, well, he went down before he got a chance to breathe. Gets himself a second. This is all over for Super Hot Crew. Millennium really have played this game very well.
Yeah, and Kerp, he's actually been able to do this pretty much through the entire game. He got such a good start, he got an early DFG, and just started picking up targets. And there's nothing worse than playing support against that.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Millennium do get themselves more kills on the board. Creator now 14-0-7 as they finish out this game. The Nexus going down. Millennium finish the day with a win. And the Super Hot Crew, well, there is no dream. They cannot get 3-0. They're back to losing ways.
I think this was one of the most one-sided early games we have seen in the current season of LCS. And that's also why, you know, we're being a little bit harsh on Millennium. We want them to, you know, constantly pressure this lead they had. But all in all, they played it safe and they got the win they needed. And this is such a huge confidence boost for them.
And even when they stood up, they really didn't. They were kind of like celebrating half-heartedly because it was kind of an easy win.
It was a bit of an easy win. Everything went well for them early game. They won the lanes. And again, highlight the teleport from Kevin coming down where they picked up the 4 kills, I think it was, in the bot lane. It was basically a huge turning point where they just got so far ahead. There wasn't really anything Super Group could do to get back in the game.
And what do we take from Millennium for this one? Because I believe that's only their 3rd victory in the LCS. They're still down that bottom area. Of course, Alliance just picked themselves up their 3rd victory as well today. So they're not out of it yet. They're still down that bottom of the table.
They're still down at the bottom. We saw some good points, though. They got very far ahead early game against actually a Super Hot Crew team who's been doing fairly well early game. So they really showed in some great individual play. And also, I like the rotation and coordination this time. You know, whenever Kerp was roaming, Ernier went into the mid lane, he defended it there, got the farm he needed, and when the bot lane needed help, Ernier was there, picked up the kill, so everything really worked for them, and then they just kept using this LeBlanc to pick up kills in the mid game, and if there was a fight, Creaton was there to take a lot of kills.
And we should mention Jerry there, just giving the thumbs up to the screen.
Oh yeah, flash hooks.
Some great flash hooks in that
I think he did 3 of them actually, and he, you know, every time he gave a kill, and he just gave a big advantage for Millennium, so gotta highlight that one, that was amazing.
Of course, you can't have great AD carries without support. But speaking of great AD carries, it's great to see Creaton back in winning ways. 13-0-7, I believe he ended the game with there. You know, he was the man that was carrying the team before. This is going to give him a confidence boost.
Of course, and this is also him showing to the team, you can still trust in me.
Yeah.
Give me the kills early game like he got this time, and I will carry this game in every single team fight. He didn't do a single misstep. I don't even think he died.
And this is interesting because Creaton's probably been the most vocal of all AD carries, saying AD carries, they're not as good as they used to be. They can't carry games, but I'm pretty sure they just proved that they can.
They can definitely do a lot. Once we get to these team fights, if you can't really kill them, and they can do so much. Now, AD carries for me, at least in Europe, have really stepped up. There was the old argument before that NA had the AD carries, Europe had the mid laners. Right now, I really feel we have so many good AD carries in Europe. Like pretty much all the bot lanes are actually doing well.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that works out for them. Super Hot Crew, where do they take it from here? They're now taking a loss. I don't think they'll be too shocked by it. You know, they talked in the opening feature that how they're, you know, building themselves up. Everything they do is all about themselves, all backing themselves. Any sponsors they pick up, it's all the hard work they've done. There's a lot of hard work for them in the future.
There is, but this is one of those games you just kind of want to forget. You look at the early game, what I didn't follow with his TP, and all, you know, the lane matchups, how do we like them? And then from there on you kind of say, we lost the early game so hard, we couldn't do anything. And then you kind of forget the game and you move on to the next one. So I expect them to go home, really prepare for tomorrow, and then come in and show like a new super hot crew.
So let's look back over the day. Let's see what we make of it. Alliance taking down Fnatic.
Yes.
Fantastic result for them. Now Millennium picking up a win. The bottom of the table is all winning. With Super Hot Crew losing, I believe they're all going to be pretty close down this bottom of the table. Again, we're looking at a tied situation. You were obviously in that last year yourself, in that crazy tied situation throughout the season. Is it a case of everyone in Europe can beat everyone? Or is it just a simple case of Fnatic and Gambit are slightly ahead of everyone else?
I feel overall Fnatic Gambit, yeah, they're just a small step above the rest. But everyone is, you know, the teams are very coordinated. They practice a lot. That's the thing in Europe. It's normal to scrim about 8-9 hours a day. And then you watch replays and prepare from there. So all these teams are taking it super serious. And that's why we have these close games that if one team makes a mistake, the other one will punish it. We saw the same thing for Fnatic. Even though we were like, oh, Fnatic, so good. They can make mistakes, and Alliance could punish it, even though they were the bottom team, and take the win. And this is just Europe all over again from last season.
Well, we'll see where they have one of those crazy tie situations, but that's a long way off. We're only in week 4, ladies and gentlemen. For now, though, let's head over to Shox and Quickshot, who are standing by with Millennium's Creaton, the man that got 1307.
Thank you very much, guys. We are indeed joined by the 80 carry for Team Millennium, Creaton. Great win here, but I want to go back and recap the day for you guys, because it started out not so well versus Rocket. And for you on that Tristana, that didn't really work out, so talk us through that.
To be honest, I couldn't do anything in this game because we threw the game pretty hard, as we usually do. And at this point, they were too tanky to do anything, so basically I was useless. But yeah, that's it.
So how do you reset from that, and what was the plan going into this one, specifically versus the Super Hot Crew?
We were like, we went 2-6, so we were like, we don't care. Let's play whatever, and let's see. And it worked out. And we were talking about Warwick a lot, because every time Jerry plays Warwick at solo queue, he wins. So he was like, play goddamn Warwick, and it worked.
So it's interesting you highlight the Warwick, because it kind of felt like you and Kerp had phenomenal games. I think you went 14-0-7 at the end there. Kerp didn't get, gave up very few deaths. What helped the two of you really picking up all those kills and destroying Super Crew in this match?
To be honest, I think we just played correctly or they played bad. I'm not really sure. I have to watch replay, but I felt like getting kills on bot lane was really easy this game.
Can you make maybe the comparison? What went right here that went wrong just 2 matches before?
I already explained. We played good early game against Rocket, but then we threw the game like morons, and that's it.
So that's a very strong word. And, Millennium have had some struggles closing games out. So how do you and the rest of the team actually step back and approach that? How do you tackle that big problem?
I feel like we are all 5 great players, but no one of us can really shot call really good. And we have troubles, like we struggle a lot during the game. We don't talk that much inside the game. We don't have like fresh ideas what to do, like when to push, when to split push, and things like this. And we try to figure it out. And I hope for the next week, because we play Fnatic and Gambit, it's going to work.
So explain to me how the shot calling works in Millennium. If you said you don't have a clear shot caller, you've got the loudest player in the LCS, Aranea, on that stage. Is he not the in-game caller? Or, how does that structure work?
I wouldn't say he's a caller right now. Maybe he's the loudest person, but it doesn't mean that he's going to make a great calls or something like this. And basically, we just throw ideas and we try to follow up. Someone doesn't follow up, we get called, blah, 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 and we lose.
Is that something you think you can work on, or do you think you will just find a style to work around that and say, well, if we just go chaotic, apparently it works, but maybe it doesn't?
I guess so. I feel like Team Rocket plays like this. They just go in, YOLO, and they win, so we may try this one.
Now, do you think the same sort of solo queue approach to the game would work against stronger opponents? If you went in with that YOLO mindset, could you take down Gambit or Fnatic right now?
I think we could. If we can get some kills on Lucian Thresh, then we can snowball easily, as you could see in this game. Same with LeBlanc, and I think it can work.
Yeah, you touched on that Lucian Thresh, and you have been quoted in the past to say, I think it's really hard right now for AD carries. Do you feel like you can only do it on Lucian right now, or how's that work?
I could do the same on Tristana, Ezreal, Jinx, it doesn't matter. What matters is to like create a situation when we can like make a successful gank and snowball from this moment.
Let's talk about that quote, because it's something we as shoutcasters like to talk about a lot. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, you were saying that you don't feel like AD carries are in a good position. Not too much has changed in the game since then. Has your viewpoint changed?
No.
And why not? Explain to us.
Because I deal no damage in late game. I don't know. Maybe it's because we play so bad, like as a team, and I deal no damage. Or maybe I'm playing bad. I just don't know.
Well, you definitely haven't played bad in this game, but you seem to be quite, I don't know how to put it, like, oh, we don't care about this matchup, we'll see, whatever. Is it not maybe someone needed to pick you guys up and say, come on, guys, let's go for this, because if we play like this, we can do it?
Of course we wanted to win and play our best, but we were just like mentally destroyed after the first game because it was like 5th or 6th game we threw in the LCS. So we were just like, yeah, whatever. Just pick Warwick, go.
I've got a question about your mentality. Winning IEM Sao Paulo, was that a very positive experience for your team? And did it make you more confident coming into this week's games? Or, how did that affect your mindset?
Actually, I'm not more confident after winning Sao Paulo because Brazilian players are much worse than European. I don't try to flame or something, I'm just telling the truth. It was much easier to play in Brazil than here. It's really hard to win a single match here, like because we throw so much. Like I don't know what to say.
Well, for the very final question, you've been saying you throw games so quickly. How would you prevent Millennium throwing games? What's the ingredient that'll help you fix that?
Ban trash.
There we go.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to you. Good luck in your matchup tomorrow, of course. And now we're going to go back over to D&D to see which spots our team now occupy on the leaderboard.
Thank you very much, Quick Shocks. Here is where we are after today's games. With a loss from Fnatic and a win from Gambit. Both teams, they are now tied at 7-2 in first place. Then, of course, it is Rocket. Their wins keep them in third place with a 6-3. And, of course, in fourth place, well, we have SK Gaming. There are now 4 wins, 5 losses.
And in fifth place, we have the rest of the European LCS. 4 teams tied on 3 wins and 6 losses. And they are Alliance, Copenhagen Wolves, Millennium, and Super Hot Crew.
Everybody tied. No surprises, of course. Europe, what do we expect? That is where things are now. But the good news is that, of course, we have 4 more games on Friday. Looking for even more changes in the standings, here are the matches that will shake things up. Starting off, it's going to be SK Gaming versus the Copenhagen Wolves. That will be followed by the Super Hot Crew up against Gambit. That's not going to be pretty.
And then we have Fnatic versus Rocket, a huge match. And then we end the day with Alliance versus Millennium.
And of course, that action does pick up on Friday at 7 p.m. Central European Time. That is 10 a.m. Pacific. But we're not done yet, ladies and gentlemen, because right now it is our time for our first European Challenger Series semi-final, where the Ninjas in Pyjamas will be facing off against Tick, Trick, and Duck in a best-of-3. Let's hand it over to Jat and Freak.
Thank you very much, D-Man, and welcome everyone to the 2014 European Challenger Series semifinals, brought to you thanks in part to our friends at Coca-Cola. I'm David Freak Turley. It's Josh with Jat Leisman. How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. We just saw a very close set of European games. And speaking of how close the league was, we got an NIP game coming up right here. A team without a lot of players that did great in Europe last split.
Yeah, I'm sure the Official knows all about these guys. Of course, you're going to see them hit to the field, maybe picking up some wins now that the Official's off the roster. Coming up tonight, we've got the first Challenger Series semifinal, a best-of-3 between former LCS participants Ninjas in Pyjamas and the 4th-seeded Tick, Trick, and Duck.
Yeah, and the winners of this match will advance to next Friday's finals, and then they get a chance to play on the European LCS stage in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah, so for some visual reinforcement, here we go. Like Jat said, the winner of tonight's match will advance to the finals, and they're going to face the victor of tomorrow night's best-of-3 between Meteor Makers and Cloud9 Eclipse.
And then the loser of the semifinals drops into the third-place match. That will be taking place on Thursday, February 13th, the day before the final.
And now, the 2 teams that advance to the final, of course, there's more than pride on the line. These are Challenger Series. It's going to get you into the LCS Prem. Let's actually take a look at what the Challenger Series means. As you can see, the Challenger Series Spring Split is broken down into halves. The first half will conclude with the aforementioned finals that are taking place next week.
Yeah, and the top teams that finish in the top 3 will automatically advance to the second Spring Series, and they earn a load of Challenger points in the process. The 6 teams that accumulate the most Challenger Series points over the 2 halves combined will advance to the Challenger Series playoffs, with the top 3 then earning a spot in the LCS Summer Promotion Tournament. So that means tonight's semifinal could be the difference between a shot at an LCS spot and another split doing the whole Challenger, ranked 5s, qualify in craziness that these guys have went through.
Yeah. Bit of pressure. Gotta make it happen.
I think so. Most of the Challenger has been a lot about kind of proving yourselves for these guys, but now they're down to this section. It's kind of time to get down to business.
It kind of gets hyped up over the course of time. Now, guys, that was a lot of information, so if you have any questions, just head over to lolesports.com and you'll keep everything up to date.
Yeah, pull down the menu under Leagues and Tournaments, select the European Challenger Series, and then you might have your questions answered.
Might just happen.
And if you don't, just tweet at Freak, and he'll answer all of them for you.
At Riot Freak.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone else has that Freak.
Yeah, probably.
I would love to have
really
it.
confused.
If you have it, let me know. I'll take it off your hands. No big deal. Now, guys, now that you know what's at stake, let's get to it. Our first European Challenger Series semifinal. NIP versus Tick, Trick, and Duck. Now, these teams' quarterfinal results were actually pretty similar. Their route here, though, was pretty different.
Yeah, so Tick, Trick, and Duck. I'm going to mess up that name. It's a tongue twister throughout the entire game. They had to fight their way into the top 24 of the ranked 5s. Then they win 2 play-in games to advance to the round of 8, and then they went from there. NIP, on the other hand, was part of the EU LCS summer split. They got relegated after the season. Then they lost in the promotion tournament. Then they found themselves in the Challenger Series, but at least they didn't have to kind of qualify for it like the other guys did.
Yeah, so they're here now. 1 best of 3 under the belt so far. NIP played their first Challenger Series 2 weeks ago in that quarterfinal round. They faced off against SK Gaming Prime.
Yeah, and SK Gaming Prime took the first game in the series.
Yeah.
Pretty well, and it looked like NIP's slide was just going to continue. We're wondering what's going to happen with these guys. Is NIP done for? No. NIP came back really strong. They crushed SK Gaming Prime 2 games in a row, and they're advanced to the semifinals here.
Yeah, and crush is like an understatement, too.
Yeah.
They got 37 kills, 3 total deaths, and if you factor in the assists, that's a 35 KDA in those 2 last games.
Yeah, and the stats being that huge, individually they kind of stack up pretty well. Nuke Duck on the Blanc, 10-1-7. Amin, their new jungler, was just crazy on Vi and Lee Sin. Freeze was 10-0-16 in their 2 wins. That's pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, he played incredibly well. The entire team's been kind of shaping up. And, of course, we can look back over to what TTD did overall coming in here as well. Just like NIP, it did take Tick, Trick, and Duck 3 games to advance out of the quarterfinals and into tonight's match. But unlike their opponents, it was actually really close the entire time between them and Storm Games Clan.
Yeah, you and I were actually casting that game, so I remember it a bit better. The first 2 games were very tight, with Tick, Trick, and Duck winning game 1, and then SGC won game 2. But then in game 3, Tick, Trick, and Duck, they flipped the switch, they pulled out their Tick, their Trick, and their Duck, and they dominated 33 minutes. They got 14 of the 39 kills in that game from the series, and they only died 3 times.
Yeah, and of course, in that 3rd game, their ADC, Sunny, he stepped up, he carried, he did an amazing job. Tick, Trick, and Duck's jungler, Nightmare, also did a really crazy job.
Yeah, best game of the series for him, 2-0-7 on Vi. One teammate who actually made the most of those ganks was Sunny. He got most of the kills from those ganks. Then he was just fantastic. And these 2 really have to step up, blah, blah, blah. Tick, Trick, and Duck step up in these games if they want to take out NIP. They're up against Freeze, who's one of the best AD carries in Europe.
Yeah, he's pretty scary. And honestly, the mid lane as well, it's interesting because with NIP, I feel like Nuke Duck, if you watch the games, you go back and watch the games against SK Prime, he mechanically played phenomenally. He outplayed Exila's Zed like every single time, like very rarely went down, but he had so little participation in the game, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
He had like the lowest kills and assists of anyone, lowest kill participation. So he played really well, but just didn't do much with it.
Which is strange because he was on the Blanc.
Yeah.
I feel like Nuke Duck's been on a bit of a never-ending slide, and he's going to have to pick it up right here since they are in the top 4. He was so dominant in the summer split of LCS. Dexter said he made Nuke Duck
look good.
Look good. Yeah.
Well, there's no Dexter.
We had to add that last part because it makes it a little more appropriate. But yeah. Anyway, Nuke Duck. Now that he's with Amin, we'll see if they get a little bit more synergy. And Nuke Duck, it's his time to shine.
Well, the Kale banned away. The LeBlanc already dropped from NIP. Of course, when you pick it 3 times in a row,
I know.
You're probably going to get it banned away.
It's a little disappointing, too, because we were talking before the game how Zoro Zero and Nuke Duck have both been playing a lot of LeBlanc.
Yeah.
And we wanted to see what kind of team comps they were going to have because Fnatic played top lane LeBlanc today. Didn't work at all.
Not so much.
So I wanted to see it if NIP, but obviously Tick, Trick, and Duck is ahead of the game.
They got it under control. Kassadin also banned from Nuke Duck, and of course, why wouldn't you? This seems pretty standard for these guys at this point. It's weird. There's a couple of LCS teams that'll still ban Kassadin on blue side.
I know.
Super Hawk did it.
Yeah.
So apparently, like, Moops can't play
Some
it.
people just don't like playing Kassadin.
Yeah.
I can kind of respect that in a sense because since it's so universally banned, they're just like, well, fine. We're never going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn champions that I actually get to play.
Sure, you might as well have it there if you're going to ban it in the first place. Yeah. Annie dropped away by NIP. Tick Trick and Duck now for the last choice with this one, and
there's so much.
Yeah, and
it's
a lot
crazy.
of like Tick Trick and Duck's normal champions are still available.
Yeah.
Like Nightmare's lost one
Jinx,
jungler,
Leona for the bottom lane. That's
exactly
what they destroyed with in most of their games. I really like the way the bans are kind of evolving throughout the 2014 season because when it started out, at least in the promotion tournaments, you're just kind of like, all right, fine. Siobhan and Mundo aren't banned. That means they're going to be the first 2 picks. So Elise isn't banned as the first pick. That's still true.
Yeah, sure.
But the rest of them are still really creative. We're never seeing Pantheon bans.
No.
Kale was dominating, hadn't been banned yet. LeBlanc was a little bit unheard of. Yasuo hadn't been released. You know, like there's this evolution of thing where there's kind of so many strong champions that we're no longer seeing like the every single game.
Yeah.
6 bans are decided.
Yeah, because people sort of learned over the course of time, oh wait, what are the things I can go and explore? Like, I've seen so many games with like 6 mid lane bans, and you're like, oh, but that's still a common pick that you pulled out there. Oh, it's Gragas, who got through 6 bans, 1 pick, 2 picks, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like there's such a big pool in a lot of different locations.
And I think Nuke Duck would be more experienced than that with anyone. I remember looking at, like, for some reason in League of Legends, especially in Europe, mid laners play more champions than anyone else.
Yeah.
Like Alex and Nuke Duck and even like ManCloud over in NA, played like 15 or 16 different mid laners in 28 games.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you'll see 6 mid lane bans. That doesn't mean these guys aren't going to know exactly what to play in that situation.
Exactly. And, well, speaking of what to play in the situation, looks like Snow already getting his Ziggs, one of like 3 champions he's played so far across 5 games.
Yeah.
2 Ziggs games. They've gone pretty well for him. The Jinx, you talked about that, blocked in for Sunny as well.
Yeah. Big time pick for Sunny. I like the Ziggs pick. I mean, it seems like for TTD, they're kind of just getting exactly what they are good at.
Yeah, what
in
they
a
played
sense.
before.
They're going to be able to pick Leona whenever they want. I imagine they're going to pick it within these 2 so that they're able to use their last pick for a bit of a counter to like a general team comp, knowing that Zoro Zero is going to be on Renekton. So these last 2 picks, these 2 picks here, maybe like Leona, and then their jungler Vi is absolutely available.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised a little bit to
Or
see
Nocturne,
Zoro Zero.
because he's L Nightmare.
He actually has been playing it. It's on his solo queue record. Like, even recently in the past couple of games, he's been showing that. The reason I'm kind of questioning the Zoro Zero Renekton is that, like, when NIP played SK Prime, like, Zoro won his lane of Renekton and then stopped doing things.
That
and
happened in the
that
promotion
game.
tournament, too.
Yeah.
Against the team formerly known as something that turned into Rocket.
Yeah.
KMT. Yeah. We're going to get there.
Not
Anyway.
going to pronounce the Polish name.
No. Ooh. KMT?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's like Yeti's Mala's team or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's Rokat. We're good.
Yeah,
Moving
so
on.
he did that on Renekton too, and he needs to be able to make a big impact in the lane. He's against Mundo, obviously.
Yeah.
They're saving the jungle for the last pick because why not? Renekton had already been picked. Tons of tankiness at that point, and now NIP needs to make sure they have enough damage dealers to cut through.
Well, Zed locked in Lucian here as well, so I feel like it's a lineup you see a lot. It's a good generalist lineup, I feel.
It's really generalist right now for NIP. There's a lot of, I would say, like, beefiness. They're a very tanky team overall. Hold on, what's going on here with Tick Trick and Duck? Are they tricking us? Is that a Jungle Mundo?
They need a top laner, potentially.
I know.
I mean, Phantom Joe has teleport right now for his summoners.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he changes it.
Yeah, that feels like Mundo summoners. They're just mind gaming us because they feel like it.
Well, Nightmare's definitely jungling. He's got Smite.
That is probably true.
Yeah, I don't think he'll change that.
And we had this talk earlier, like, there's an L in front of his name, but we're just calling him Nightmare. And I was like, what if it's actually El Nightmare, like El Toro, El Diablo, right? But he just didn't, he wanted to have more space in case he had like a really long gamer tag beforehand, like Tick, Trick, and Duck. What if they wanted to put like 7 letters in front of there? He'd be trying to save space.
Tick, Trick, jumping, clowns.
Yeah, Tick,
Toasters,
Trick.
and Duck.
Or if it was just like Trick, TD, El Nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably too big.
Yeah, TT Duck.
Yeah.
TT Duck, El Nightmare.
All
Drop
right,
it.
They did Vi.
There we go.
That's
So,
not too
Vi, jungling. It is top lane Mundo. Mundo Renekton, a matchup we've seen before. Elise and Vi, no strangers as well. So, yeah, these guys are running pretty much just like champions they've liked to run before the bans, not really removing a lot of comfort.
The bans were not very targeted in a sense, especially if you look at NIP like Pantheon, Kale, Annie. Those are probably the most generic bans you would see, and the fact that Cass and Yasuo are banned on the other side Super generic. The Zed Lucian, even though they were the last 2 picks for NIP, I would say are way more towards comfort than they are about actual functionality. I think there's a little bit of a risk that NIP doesn't have enough damage to take down Phantom Joe if he gets farmed on Mundo. I think Lucian in particular is one of the weaker AD carries against Mundo, because sure, he can kite really well, but especially something like the culling, he's just going to hit Mundo in the face and he's going to keep coming at him.
Not going to care too much.
Yeah.
The last game we saw the LCS, or no, it was 2 ago, it was Gambit. Lulu shielded, it might have been a Renekton.
Yeah.
And the culling broke the shield and like hit 3 more
and
pellets.
It looked like it would heal her, I think was the saying that.
Yeah,
was it Deficio that said that?
I want to say that was probably... No, it would have been Deficio and D-Man. D-Man.
It was those 2.
That was D-Man, though.
Probably D-Man.
D-Man said it. He didn't heal him. It did deal damage.
Deficio's going to be mad at you if it was Deficio.
No, he doesn't get credit. Okay. I already made fun of him once today. He's already mad at me.
You did? That was super rude. Yeah.
I don't know where it came from.
It's completely uncalled for.
I don't know why I went for it. I don't even talk to him that much. Like I assume,
I
assume we're friends.
Just like, because you're both League of Legends casters. You're like, of course we get along.
Now there's camaraderie. Yeah. It's fine.
Some of these easy things to do.
I love you, Deficio.
I'm sure he likes you too.
You want to duo queue and carry me to Challenger?
He definitely does not.
Well, here we go, guys. On to the Rift. Mithy, defense spec, got that shield. Every time he dies, 50 points of shield. I remember that mastery coming under some fire early on, and people were like, that's a terrible mastery.
Almost no one would get that mastery, because it's literally only when you die. Like, it's not even when you go back to base. It's such a terrible gold value when you really think about like the overall game. But then the question becomes, how much can you get out of it in lane? Like, Mithy wants to fight someone at level 1. And he's going to use that 50 health shield, theoretically, to gain an advantage in the lane so they can hit level 2 first. And then by that being getting control of the lane, it's therefore worth it.
Yeah.
So if he walks into the jungle and takes a Ziggs bomb, it's a total waste of time.
Or if he dies a lot, he'll keep getting that shield
In which case, he can get like 500 health in a game.
Oh my gosh.
I know, think about
10
it.
deaths makes it worth it. It's like taking revive. You just feel bad if you don't use it.
A little bit, yeah.
It's faster than recalling sometimes.
I mean, look at that. He's got a lot of health to begin with the Dorn shield.
Very tanky man.
Yeah.
I don't want to all on that Thresh if I'm Tick, Trick, and Duck in the bottom lane.
Hold on.
Okay.
All right, never mind. You can get the Biscuit Mastery with 9 points in utility.
Yeah.
So he's 21 defense.
Yeah. I just go 20. I go 0, 20, 10. I just want the shield mastery. Who needs tenacity? I don't.
I think a lot of people like tenacity.
I know. I was kidding.
Yeah, especially against Leona.
Yeah. Has some
They try to stun chain on you, so the tenacity is really beneficial. Oh, is he going to take damage? No. Still got that shield. Shield watch for Mithy.
Did you know? This is actually a really bad one.
All right.
Jinx Leona has 2 stuns and 2 roots.
And
a slow kind of, but you can't get the slow and the stun on the same target.
Hold on. 2 stuns and 2 roots, but Leona has technically 3 crowd controls. Because the Q is a stun, and if you hit the center of the ult, it's 2 stuns.
Yeah.
And then there's also like a root on the E.
Yep.
And then Jinx has a root and a slow.
Oh, and a slow.
Yeah. Technically, they could have 2 stuns, 2 roots, 2 slows, depending on the effectiveness of Leona.
That's true. So there you go.
Yeah.
Lots going on in this game. CC heavy lane.
Triple 2 lane.
No.
And see, look at that shield. They're afraid to trade with
Bam! Tanks the rocket. Still almost full health.
But look at how much damage they did to Sunny because Mithy was able to walk up there.
Hits him again with the chain.
And now they have control of the lane.
Yeah, and Mithy learned Flay at level 1. He's just getting the auto attacks in. And yeah, look at this. TT force back. 6 minions to 0 right now. And 2 of the melee minions are already dead. So that's 2 denied CS so far.
Yeah.
Worth it.
I'd say so. Success granted so far. Mastery point. Success.
Yep.
You can see the junglers clearing pretty normally. Elise is just ridiculous in speed. Sometimes I see Elise's even start with wards because they take such a small amount of damage in the jungle that they can afford putting an early ward out. But he's not afraid of El Nightmare's counter jungling.
The Nightmare.
Yeah. I'm just going to call them both names. I'm going to mix it up depending on how I feel.
Okay.
He gives me that versatility by putting the L in front of
it is a lowercase L, by the way. It looks like a capital I. It's not. And he even like re-tagged on live, like because they all put Tick, Trick, and Duck tags on their accounts, and he kept the L. It wasn't like Nightmare got taken and he wanted to put characters in there.
Yeah.
Because like Bonaparte and Sunny renamed themselves.
He might have been afraid that someone would take the name TTDL Nightmare if he was TTD Nightmare and steal his identity.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do that. He's on the big screen now. Got to make sure his identity stays safe. Freeze and Myth, he's still chilling in this bottom lane. I got to point out again, Freeze had the highest KDA of anyone on his team. 1 death across the BO3. like a 29 KDA or something ludicrous. And Lucian was one of the champions he played. I believe Lucian was the game they lost and only died once, so he's been good at being safe.
Yeah, and at least early on, they're doing a great job in that lane. They've kept Jinx and Leona completely pushed back to their turret. And especially for Leona, I feel like she's kind of weak-ish in the first 2 levels unless your AD carry is much stronger than the other one. It's just not the case with the current incarnation of Jinx since her base health was nerfed.
Yeah.
Now that they're level 3, Leona would have the potential to fight back, but not inside a large minion wave. In that case, they lose it again. So I think TikTok and Duck's going to be trapped in their turret for a little while longer.
Maybe if they can pull Nightmare around, he'll be able to turn something back on this one.
Yeah, he's
on the wrong side of the map. Yeah. Vault Breaker does not go that far.
That would be absurd.
Not even Nocturne goes that far.
Nope.
Not even Mandrop goes that far. Only Shen.
Only Shen. And
Summoner Teleport.
Yep. Yep.
Recall, but it goes the wrong way.
Recall will technically cover that much distance, just not to a turret.
Well, if you count the fountain laser a turret.
All right.
I don't know if you do.
Nope.
It's a laser.
Yep.
The embodiment of a laser.
Nuke Duck's doing pretty well too, actually.
Yeah, he's actually winning his lane.
Usually Ziggs pushes in Zed early on with harass, but Nuke Duck is doing the opposite. There's actually a lot of things that Nightmare has to respond to right now because all of his lanes are getting pushed in. So the early game pressure from NIP is definitely working. Since everyone is pushing together, it is therefore safer for each individual one because it's not like there's a singular target that Vi can click on. Everyone is benefiting from this. So even if one lane gets ganked and punished, overall, the net is still positive for NIP.
Yeah, look at this. It's a 400, 500 gold lead right now for NIP. First Blood would barely equalize that at this point. So it's also worth pointing out that up until 0-0 ate that potion, every single lane had forced consumables out of their opponent without using them themselves.
So
not only was there
really
the
bullying
lead.
these lanes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
12 minions here in the top lane. Of course, support AD carry here for TTD. Actually, Sunny getting lower and lower. Look at that health bar, down to about a quarter. Just going.
Yeah.
Just the laning phase. And
right from the start.
Yeah.
Especially because Mythy got so much damage down on him early. A lot of people might not realize that when you level up, the health you actually generate on level is dependent on your current health when you do level up. So since Sunny was low at level 1, that means all his subsequent levels have kept his health low.
Flashes over the Flame Choppers. Nightmare's not going to show up in that one. So not much. That CC's going to land, and NIP going to be safe. But Nightmare is kind of freeing up this lane, pushing it down.
They might try and dive this if they can get the right kind of catch. If he lands a cocoon on Bonaparte, he might kill him.
Puts the damage down. There comes the melee form execute. Doesn't quite land the damage. Spiderlings won't find it, but this is risky. Bonaparte is going to be allowed to go upwards. Amen just forcing him away, saying you give up turret control. And this is going to be a lot of dead minions.
Yeah. It could actually be a dead turret if they want to. All Ammon is doing right now is completely zoning them out. There's a ton of dead minions. Yeah, they're just trying to withstand the laning phase. They don't even want the turret right now because they're winning so many lanes right now. If they just keep farming like this, they're going to get a huge advantage.
They could hit 6 before TTD hits 5 down there.
They could.
It's going to be a gigantic difference. And
look at the CS, too.
Oh, God. 64 to 32. Fully doubled, exactly. Top lane's 50% bonus as well. This is going so well in just the laning phase. And to think, I was like, I don't know if I like the Renekton. He won the laning phase. They didn't do much for it.
Right.
And
well,
they're just dominating so hard.
The whole team has went fairly heavy into the early game right now.
Yeah.
Lucian versus Jinx is very much like a early game crush you versus a bit of a late game matchup. I know Jinx has actually had a lot of early game power recently, but she's pushed more towards late game now that she has the base health nerfs.
Yeah.
Obviously, Zed against Ziggs. Zed is the one matchup that would be a little bit troublesome, but Nuke Duck is just outplaying Snow right now and keeping him pressed back. And we don't even really need to get into 0-0 versus Phantom Joe because Renekton beats him up early on because he's Renekton.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the NIP mid laner is kind of set up to win this matchup, though. Like, of all teams to nuke, you might as well nuke Duck.
So you're saying that would be if he was playing Ziggs. He could be like, oh, he's the Nuke Duck.
I mean, it still works.
Or you're saying, like, you can't nuke the Nuke Duck.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There's something there with nukes and ducks. And
something.
I didn't plan it well enough. I'm
he's
sorry.
playing like a ninja.
I knew this matchup for like 2 weeks, and I didn't come up with a joke in time.
Trying to come up with something.
Like, and now I'm doing it now. Like, I did no preparation.
Because he's against Snow.
Yeah. Who's still on the wrong Zig skin.
I mean, he could try and create like a nuclear winter.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, we're good with this one. Well, I mean, Freeze in the lineup. It'll be absolute 0-0.
All right, we're done here.
It was horrible.
There's no more.
I'm sorry. It's a sunny day out, though. Unfortunately, Man, there's so many things. I'm gonna
Stop.
During the commercial, I'm going to come up with more. All right, we're back into the game. Here we go. Phantom Joe getting hit. Zoro, though, is going to find Nightmare. The ult's going to come across. Pops dominance. Phantom Joe half HP. Ultis as well. Now, can Zoro live? Has Flash. He's still fighting. Can he take down Phantom Joe? He's still burning down. This is going to be close. Flashes still goes down. Phantom Joe takes it.
Yeah, he turned a lot of damage around. And because I think he surprised himself with his damage, he ended up sticking around too long. Once he scared Vi off, there was a small chance he would have been able to flash and at least burn Phantom Joe's flash to continue the finish.
Yeah.
But the greed stopped him from doing that. It doesn't matter how much damage you do to your opponents if you don't finish.
And the Dragon's going to go down as payment for the top lane gank. But take Trick and Duck. First Blood is going to help their top lane and alleviate a lot of that pressure. And we look as they both went back to base. You've got the makings of a Sunfire versus the makings of a Tiamat.
And also there's an extra cloth armor thrown in there for good measure. It's going to make it a little bit harder for Zoro to pressure Phantom Joe in the lane. And it will come to a point here where Zoro is going to continue to get stronger at farm, but probably not be able to kill Phantom Joe. And that will be the moment in the game where Zoro has to transition down to the rest of the map. I almost never see Zoro lose lane. This is one of those occasions where he's just not going to lose it. Nice stun!
Oh, the cocoon lands. Snow taking so much damage. Amin not going to go for the kill. Oh, Nuke Duck got it.
Yeah,
Ignite?
he ticked him with the Ignite like really late. So you would have thought it would have been up early, but that's why they're able to walk away with the kill. Really clutch finish there as the jungle support arrived.
I didn't realize he had ignited him. I was like, all right, well, nice try right here. Zoro now. Phantom Joe in the fight. I mean, you know, initially, there we go. Okay, the ultimate.
There's no reaction ult.
Yeah, he got about 15 seconds there. Phantom Joe not going to go in for the kill with this one though.
He's probably just content getting his farm back a little bit.
Okay.
This is the first time in about 10 minutes where Phantom Joe hasn't been pushed straight into his turret.
And he's going to try to retrieve the minions from under it when it comes in eventually anyway. Freeze and Mythy putting some damage on this turret now. Level 7 versus level 6 and 5. So a small lead here in XP as well as gold. The Escorter's Vamp Jump are important as well.
Monstrous lead in CS. Good lord.
58 to 100. He's actually just in a really, really good pace, actually. We don't really see scores this high this early from AD carries.
There's been almost no pressure back at him. Bonaparte, I don't even think he's tried with the Zenith Blade this whole game. There's been almost no zoning potential from Leona. And here's another gank top.
Well, no ulti from Phantom Joe, but the ulti comes in from Nightmare. Zoro, not in a good spot, does not have flash either. Doesn't get the damage. Nightmare picks up another kill for the team.
They're trying to get the turret down bottom too.
Stun up on a Mythy. Turret goes down. The nuke's coming through as well. Bonaparte not in a good place. Mythy steals the kill. And here's the chase from Freeze. Lands the culling Sunny. 100 HP, flashes away. Safe.
Yep. But his turret's gone.
Yep.
So that's unfortunate.
A little bit.
And also his support's dead. So overall, this up and down trade is definitely benefiting NIP, but I feel like that's because they were just winning the lane 2v2. As far as the jungler interaction goes, it's been pretty even. Nightmare and Phantom Joe have done a really good job keeping Zoro down a little bit and trying to make it so even if he wants to become involved mid-game, he might not be able to.
Yeah.
But in the bottom lane, it's probably a little more disastrous that Sunny is down so much. Because Jinx will not be a factor as long as Lucian can just go and kill him, especially since Jinx is such an immobile AD carry. I would say the gank trades benefit NIP overall.
I think so. And the question for me, though, is, so what happens when Renekton fully falls off and Mundo becomes really hard to kill? Because you said in pregame, Nuke Duck and Freeze not that well equipped to kill a Mundo, and that's exactly who's getting farmed on TTD.
It's true, and he doesn't necessarily have to build that much mana creeps. Because Amin... Sure, he can get a little farm down Elise. That'll help trying to take down Mundo. But it all really depends. I think if Freeze continues to farm and kill at this pace... That was just rude.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We knocked him into it. It was a gift.
Yeah, if Freeze continues to farm and kill at this pace, I think he'll just be strong enough to kill Mundo. I think.
Yeah, I can see that.
But aside from that, I also think the game's not going to get late enough for that to be a problem at the moment. Did he steal that too?
No, that was given over.
Yes, it was.
Snow was far away, and he's like, just ult it. I'll sunlight it for you. That worked out okay.
I was super confused there for a second.
Yeah, it was weird.
Because Nuke Duck generally play... No, okay.
I just realized something. Sunny is paired with the solar support tank.
Yes, it is true.
Like, he gets to use sunlight the entire time. There's so much gold here, I didn't even think of it. Nuke Duck still
you have
in
a
his lane.
strange definition of what gold is. I would call this something much
comedic
different.
gold.
No.
I discovered a new type of joke, by the way. Zyrene showed them to me. It's kid jokes. They're not anti-jokes. They don't have a real punchline. First of all, Nightmare trying to run away. Red buff on him. Gets it. Gets out. Yeah.
Stun landed because I believe there was a tick of cooldown left on Nightmare's flash. Just getting up right now, they would have killed him. Bottom lane freeze continues to finish. I'm actually okay that we got distracted because I don't really want to know what these jokes are. Because it sounds like you're just talking. And you're just like, that was a joke. There's no punchline.
Really jokes.
Yeah.
Well, Nightmare's still getting invaded on. Amin really wants to make this happen. Flash Cocoon goes off. Zed follows the flash. Nightmare pop. Down he goes. Nuke Duck getting the red buff for his troubles.
Nuke Duck's getting really strong too, and he's going to be able to roam around. One thing that Snow hasn't done, despite farming very well on Ziggs, he has applied almost no map pressure. Ziggs, when you pick him, is all about just pushing lanes, and the absolute opposite is happening for Tick and Duck. Oftentimes you'll see Ziggs use his ultimate on side lanes even, just to keep the waves moving. He's doing none of that. He's using his ultimate to secure blue buff. He's being very selfish with his farm, and it's allowing Nuke Duck to get going a little bit too much.
Yeah, we just saw Nightmare get invaded twice in a row at his red and on his race. Second one resulted in a kill. Meanwhile, as you talked about, Snow he's being selfish with his farm. He took the wolf camp down. He's likely to go for race when they respawn. We'll see what else he can do for his team here. Stopped up, got the early Seeker's Arm Guard to survive the lane. But, you know, as you said, no pressure here. Zoro 0, despite the 2 deaths, he's maintaining a minion lead, 140 to 111. He's staying completely up with Phantom Joe.
I think that's part of the reason he took the deaths is because he's continuing to play so aggressive.
Yeah.
I really wonder how that duel is going to continue now that Phantom Joe's going back to get more, because I want to say that Mundo is pretty much the sole hope left for Tick and Duck. And he's going to have to get involved fairly soon. This could be the dragon fight, you know? He's got to teleport up. There's also Zoro running to the top lane. So if Tick and Duck wanted to, they could force some type of 5v4 in that dragon pit. But they're definitely peeling back because there's just so much accumulated pressure that NIP has put on the mid and the bottom lane.
It looks like they want to continue that towards the mid lane specifically here. There's a few minions alive. Those are dying to mines right here, though. And they say, you know what? Never mind. There's no red buff up. Ooh, Nuke Duck's roaming towards top. That's where they're going.
Yeah, and they're going for the sole strong person on Tick and Duck right now. Blade of the Ruined King is completed, but it's a lot of armor on Phantom Joe. I wonder if that would even kill him if they tried to dive him under the turret. They're just trying to secure the objective.
And they get it. No one rotated in time for TTD, so that's 2 turrets to 0 so far, 3 kills to 2. Dragon previously warded out by NIP. They know that's not getting countered. There's the Ziggs ulti coming.
Yeah!
It does remove the minions.
Stops the push, but also hurts them for the upcoming dragon fight.
Which they're going for.
Yeah, that's exactly what NIP kind of wanted. They're like, all right, you're not going to defend it. We'll take the turret. If you defend it, we're going to go take this. And they're killing it so fast with their ward control.
Wow.
Sure, Tick and Duck could probably come around with 5 people and get a fight, but they would have had to like preempt it or something.
Yeah.
Because NIP has too much map control.
And they just weren't there. But you're right, like Zed and Rektor were both top. Like it was a potential 5v3 if they just decided to go for it instead.
Yeah, they would have done it like right away. But if you remember, Nightmare had been moving up there to try and like support the push.
Yeah.
And I would say that was just a mistake by Tick and Duck to not try and take objectives. Overall here, they're losing their lanes slowly. And sure, NIP is an early game team, but the pace at which they're falling behind isn't equal to the pace at which their champions will get stronger.
Yeah.
So they're losing this game at the moment, and they need to start securing their objectives or at least stopping the bleeding a little bit better.
We'll see if TTD can do that, can find something else to turn this game back to their favor. Zoro 0, a level down behind Phantom Joe, and just goes in, clears the minions, and doesn't even flinch at all. Very, very close to 12 there on Renekton. Not an important level, but for what it's worth, he's about to be there.
Yeah.
He's roaming down towards the river, but he's just staying in lane anyway. He's not actually doing anything to make moves off this.
You know, I would say 12 is an important level, but there's plenty of 12-year-olds that probably say it's an important number.
Okay.
There's 12 months in a year.
Thanks.
12 is also a dozen. There's many uses for that
Not
number.
a baker's dozen.
No, that's 13, which is also an important number.
It's an unlucky number.
Yeah.
You know, 13
important
is
for that
unlucky. So should the letter B. Because B is like a scrunched together 13.
Hold on. This is true.
If your name is Bob, you're screwed.
Then your name's actually 13013.
Yep. Okay. Well, no, it's 130 something, because you don't capitalize the other letters.
Oh, I was thinking Bob. Just really loud.
If someone yells your name,
yeah.
that's really unlucky.
That's really unlucky.
Bobby's got it even worse.
Yeah.
Man.
Stop. We had a good
You
endpoint.
started it.
We had a good endpoint. That was the time to move on.
Well, 0-0 actually not in the best spot. Forced to pop Dominus, Phantom Joe. They're trading blows, but I feel like this is still pretty decent for Mundo. We'll see where it pans out. No, the Ignite makes it happen. Flash away from Mundo, still getting chased out. 0-0, he's a Q away. Flash gets him. Oh my gosh, 0-0 still winning the fights.
So what happened there was there's so much armor stacked on a Phantom Joe and a completely underestimated amount of magic damage that comes out from Renekton. His ultimate Dominus does so much magic damage. The Ignite stopped the ultimate from Phantom Joe, and he surprised him. Additionally, the majority of Mundo's damage is magic, and the Spectre's Cow on 0-0 stopped him from taking that back.
Just completely removed the threat there. Awesome play right there. 0-0 still winning the matchup despite all the jungle attention. Every successful gank that Nightmares had was a kill onto 0-0. Doesn't even matter for the NIP top laner. Shoves another wave, recalls back after taking double golems, 195 minions on him, keeping pace with his AD carry, who won his lane even harder than that. And I gotta say, he's silenced my doubts on his Renekton play. He's really working it here.
That was a really impressive move, being able to come back from all of the adversity he's taken. Additionally, I like the Black Cleaver on Nuke Duck that just got completed. Since we were talking about how NIP is mainly a physical damage team, being able to get that Black Cleaver for himself is almost like giving a Last Whisper's worth of armor penetration to the rest of the team if they're focusing on the right targets. Which means that Freeze can focus on finishing a Trinity Force without feeling guilty that he can't kill Mundo. Since if Nuke Duck is to hit Phantom Joe a little bit in, say, an isolated scenario, they will shred his armor enough that Freeze and 0-0 will be able to finish it.
That's going to be impressive. We'll see how this pans out in the team fights. 0-0 happy to stack, or not 0-0, sorry. Nuke Duck happy to stack the armor shred for everybody else. And it looks like the pressure now is to the mid lane. Phantom Joe and 0-0 still going to trade blows up top, but it is getting better and better for Renekton, even still in this game.
Yeah.
Bottom lane stopped.
I feel like Renekton peaks around 25 or 30 minutes. That's when he's just the super, super scary man, especially with his Ravenous Hydra right now. And the recent fear that he put into Phantom Joe. He's got a lot of power play left to do.
He's actually going to find Mundo over the double golems as well. And he's going to jump the wall and help his team out near the mid lane. He's going to get there before Mundo will.
He's going to run into a lot of people.
I don't think he cares. I think he's Renekton.
He's got his ultimate up.
Here we go. Puts the stun onto Nightmare. Ziggs Bomb shows up. 0-0's kind of around everybody else. And finds a Lantern. It's kind of a weird exhaust for Bonaparte. I don't think he needed that one.
Yeah, that's fantastic for NIP because Bonaparte's going to want that back the next time Zed ults his AD carry. He's going to want to use his exhaust on Nuke Duck, and now he can't. So 0-0 with a successful, threatening roam right there.
Nuke Duck. Yeah, his minions get swept away. You talked about Ziggs being able to keep these side lanes in good shape. Does that here. Nuke Duck sweeping wards away. Looks like blue buff. Something that they want control over in the near future. Dragon's up in a minute. 0-0 just finished pushing a lane top, so he's roaming around again.
I'm also looking at Sunny's build, and I feel like he's just starved right now.
He is.
Normally, Jinxes want to go Bloodthirster Phantom Dancer or Bloodthirster Static Shiv, and then continue farming and clearing waves. But Sunny is so paranoid that he's fallen behind in this game that he's trying to finish Last Whisper right now.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he doesn't feel like he can do damage. But the problem with that is he won't do that much damage without attack speed on someone like Jinx, who is so auto-attack behind.
It's true. It was basically like on his second back where he died again, he just picked up a pickaxe because he needed items.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, I've already got pickaxe. It's only like 1400 for a Last Whisper. And basically said, screw it.
That missed.
It did. That one too. Good dodging by NIP.
Little bit of panic coming from TikTok and Duck. That's the second, I'd say, pretty big misplay by Bonaparte in the last minute. First, he was using his exhaust on the 0-0's Renekton. When there was no threat of dying, it's almost like he was just trying to slow him down, but he's Leona with a bunch of crowd control. And now he's burned his ultimate, which means there's no realistic way for them to threaten Dragon, and NIP gets it again.
Amen's going to be left to take up some of that. Miffy going to grab XP nearby. 0-0 still putting pressure in this top lane. He is not leaving. 229 minions. He's pulling attention, and nothing's happening because of it. Instead, actually, it's Phantom Joe who's used to split against Nuke Duck on the bottom side.
Well, I suppose they want him against Zed because they feel like everyone else would die.
It's true.
0-0. I wonder if he can get out of this one. Thresh is going to try and get to him with the lantern. Let's see what moves he can pull.
Let's see, does he have another dash? He does, and a lantern. Wow, getting a second dash. That was nice. That was nice.
Oh.
Really well done.
He was probably feeling so smug after that move, too.
Yeah, I would.
And then you looked away, and I was
Yeah,
not
I was like,
expecting
hey, he's
that to happen. Normally, I'd see the ultimate fly out first. Oh, poor Zoro, and he had no armor to deal with that either, which is one of the reasons it executed him. I'm sure that was very close to the break point of Jinxalt finishing him or not.
Oh, yeah.
But they caught him.
You know, good thing you started building towards Last Whisper. That 35 AD is what it took.
You're absolutely right. If
Probably
he would have had
was.
his heal, I don't think it would have died.
Probably was.
Getting back in the game. On
Man.
this.
Oh, there we go. Snow sweeping away some of these little Wraith guys. Nightmare's going to help clear the rest of them out as well. See where people go. Amen going to put another ward down. Like, right now, NAP are trying to control the top side of the jungle. But outside of, like, doing cool things in laning and, like, taking dragons, I haven't seen them do a lot here. Like, they've been at, like, 4-3 or 4-2 for a while, and, like, they've been pushing lanes, but
yeah,
turrets haven't fallen for a long time, and they're just getting dragons.
What's his game plan here?
Shadows.
Yeah, I guess so. Fight in the jungle as well. I'll get your point.
Ooh, Lantern gets away. Slow comes out. Sunny's not in a good spot. Goes down. Bit overextended there. Ziggs doesn't help much either.
Absolutely. It was almost like the Lantern being out was a feint, making Sunny think he could go aggressive because all NMP was doing was going to retreat, but they kind of turned it around on him because he tried to chase too far. To get back to your point of NIP, though, and how they don't really seem like they're doing much. 3 of these players are from Lemon Dogs.
Yeah.
Or wait, 2, 3? Nuke Duck,
Zoro, Nuke Duck,
and
Mithy.
Yeah. 3 of these players are from Lemon Dogs, who last season, despite being very successful in the standings in Europe, weren't a team that initiated a lot of action. They were one of these slower playing teams that generally waited for the enemy to put themselves in a bad position and then would just kind of win slowly or win late game team fights because they outfarmed you. That's what they're doing right here for Tick, Trick, and Duck.
Yeah.
I think they're just continuing to split push their waves. Whenever Tick, Trick, and Duck makes a move, NIP will capitalize, or when it's like 30 or 40 minutes into the game, they're going to make one decisive move that is well thought out and had a lot of time behind it, and then they're going to go. I think that's just kind of what you expect from the NIP team.
Okay. Well, what they're looking for right here with 4 sweepers is maybe a bit of a Baron play.
They could, yeah. That would be a later game move. They have been... Zoro has been exploring that jungle for quite a while.
Yeah.
Trying to clear things out. They'd have to get a bit more in there. It's very hard to push against Ziggs, and he's been setting up shop in the mid lane. Once they get the mid turret down, I think NIP will have a better chance of clearing out the wards in that jungle.
Well, another attempt here by Nuke Duck that does take down Phantom Joe. So that push has finally started to work, and that was with a Randuin's done, I think. Then we got the jump on the top side as well. Sunny not in the best spot. Ulti comes across, doing some damage to Zoro.
No.
1 shot to go, takes him out. Bonaparte getting the kill credit, and Sunny barely lived.
Wow, right there, Zoro's got to feel so unlucky in that case. He was trying to solo Sunny, just missed. I think Bonaparte made a very nice move there, keeping him alive. And that will delay NIP's inevitable pushing a little bit longer, because once Mithy ran up there, they lost pressure in the mid lane. It means their mid lane pushes longer, which means mid lane doesn't die. And Snow can maintain control of that mid turret for longer.
Good play so far by these guys.
They're barely sticking in it, I'd have to say. They lost their lane so badly, especially the bottom lane.
Ooh, mid lane's getting close to dying, though. It's taking damage slowly over time. If Snow's ever not right there to sweep the waves away, they're not going to get themselves in. It seems like they're not finding ways around this at the very least. I know you said they normally play slowly, but they're certainly, like, with this kind of a lead, I feel like they'd be able to take turrets. They finally get another one. They brute force it down. 8,000 gold actually in the lead. That's a pretty sizable margin.
It's getting bigger and bigger, and especially since Zoro is the only one dying, he's not giving much gold back. Obviously, the bounty system has been changed a little bit, so when you die, gaining minions will slowly increase your bounty. But it's not to an absurd margin. He's worth less than 300 gold when they kill him, and he's not giving that much back to Tick, Trick, and Duck.
I guess it's about, what, 10 minion waves for a death, roughly.
Yeah, it's every 100...
Every 1,000 gold is a death. From minions specifically.
You're right.
Waves are about 100 gold apiece.
Ooh, waves are a bit more than 100 gold, I think. At this point in the game.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with cannons. Zoro locked up here. A lot of CC burned on him. Can he get away? Does not have flash. Pops the ulti. So taking damage. He is up soon and gets knocked around. Nice play.
The Ziggs knock right there, stopping getting to the Lantern. That happened again.
Cleaver Last Whisper, I believe it.
Yeah. The first kill, by the way, was right after he picked up his Last Whisper. And since that point, Phantom Joe hasn't been able to deal. And unless Tick, Trick, and Duck solves that problem, they're not going to win at all, I think.
Seems unlikely. 8,000 gold still separating. NIP finally now in control of their opponent's blue buff. Dragon up in 10 seconds as well. It's going to be Nuke Duck on a blue buff. He's been chilling on the right-hand side lane for the last like 10 minutes or so.
4-0-0. So Nuke Duck, you know, we said he didn't have too much impact when he played LeBlanc.
Yeah.
I'd say he's having a much bigger sway in this game.
Completely agree.
Yeah, he took on who was kind of the hope of Tick, Trick, and Duck and Phantom Joe with at least a pretty decent Mundo start, who was stacking a lot of armor against a heavy physical team. It's like, who's going to kill Mundo?
Nuke Duck.
Yes, that is absolutely the answer.
And you know
he got so
Mundo,
far. I feel like if he would have fallen behind, that wouldn't have happened.
So, Sword of the Divine.
Yes.
For Nuke Duck.
We were talking about this earlier.
We were.
Yes. We'll make sure there's not a huge fight that's about to happen, and then we'll explain it. So first off, one of the big reasons Blade of the Ruin King is so popular on Zed is during his death mark, all the damage he does, 50% of that will then trigger at the end of it. Blade of the Ruin King active helps with that, but also the fact that Blade of the Ruin King does percent current health. Since you're using that when they're near the top of their health, you're doing more damage, which is then added into the back end of your kill, and that happens as well. So why not just have a bunch of active items that can be front-loaded so the end of your burst is larger?
Yeah.
Sword of the Divine, fun apart.
He's fine. Don't worry about it. Rocket's coming through. NIP running away. Stun on a Nightmare. I still don't know if they want this fight. Lantern comes through. Cooling's going to back him off. Red buff's still up, though. NIP.
Yeah.
They're still trying for it. Oh, Phantom Joe.
Sword of the Divine.
1, 2, 3, and yeah, he didn't even need the death mark.
No. Fight on the other side of the map. I don't think it's happening. I thought it was for a second.
Nightmare got red buff, though.
All right.
Amin had Smite was around-ish. I don't know if he was in range,
We
though.
didn't get to finish our Zed story.
Yeah.
You use the Sword of the Divine, so you're critting during your death mark, which I guess was a fairly straightforward conclusion. But that's why.
Yeah.
If he wanted to add another super offensive item and be like no defense, which he probably doesn't need since he can kill Mundo, it would be a Ravenous Hydra, because you could use that active during the ultimate as well. But
Blade into the box wall, so he is slowed down. Rocket's not quite going to land. Ignite's still taken away. Jump in from Freeze, gets the kill. Nightmare's still in an okay shape. Oh, nice one right there. Blocks him up, doesn't matter too much. The jump in, though, now onto 0-0. Looks for Snow. Can he get the kill? Not quite. Knocked back into turret range, but he's a tanky man. Filet now going to land onto Sunny. More damage from Freeze. Cocooned as well. 1, 2, gets him. Knocked around. Doesn't get a lantern. They don't care, though. Nuke Duck looking for the damage. Finds the kill. Another man goes down. NIP really turning it on.
yeah, the game just got ripped wide open. I think once Nuke Duck just realized that he could kill Mundo whenever he wanted, the third time he did that, he then started collapsing down. Tick, Trick, and Duck started to panic a little bit. They started to try and look for fights, and NIP is just so much stronger at this point. Mithy was landing all of his death sentences. It continued the chase for NIP, and that was kind of their move that we talked about, where they farm for a little while, then later in the game, around 30 or 40 minutes, don't die to this.
He got it. Wow. He just stayed and was like, I'll lifesteal tank it, dog.
Yeah, that was close.
Yeah.
I think the only thing he could have done there is continue auto attack. Like, if he runs away, there's a chance he still gets hit by the bomb and dies because he hasn't life stolen, and he'd lose the blue. But if he stays and hits, he'll life steal enough that the ultimate from Ziggs will kill him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
But the center of the Ziggs ult does do more damage.
He didn't kite backwards, did he?
No, he landed right in the middle of it.
I think the ring is 80%. The outside ring is 80%. So
Right,
it's not
80%.
that much of a loss. Whatever. It worked out. Nuke Duck planned it. 5-0-1.
And he built a sight stone.
What? All right.
Yeah.
He wants to split push some more.
It's a little bit of health.
Yeah.
As well. That
180.
is... I think that's more of an item to show off, but it will have its own functional uses. Since all he is doing is split pushing, it will give the team additional warding.
Yeah, the thing is he's ahead.
And he also wants to be able to sweep as well, so...
I don't think damage helps him anymore.
No, he's killing him...
He already kills
regardless.
Mundo.
Yeah. I would have kind of expected a Guardian Angel to be the last item on Zed. That's the typical thing. But I think he is so not afraid of dying to anything right now that the little bit of health is enough defense, and the wards in themselves will be defense since he will avoid getting ganged up upon.
Yeah, I see it. I think it'll work out.
Yeah. Well, I see it too. Staring me right in the face.
Nightmare does have a Random Omen here, so the tankiness via the armor is still coming in through. Snow did get a fairly early Zhonya. Has only died once so far in this game. That was one mid lane gank a while ago. So these guys backing off again. The jungle trying to be controlled here by NIP. They've got I don't believe they've actually bought any trinket upgrades, just the baseline tier 2 sweeping trinkets so far.
You know what's cute?
What?
The fact that Freeze went full Infinity Edge afterwards and didn't bother with the Last Whisper, because I think they're safe just saying they have the armor shred from Nuke Duck's Black Cleaver, and therefore a lot of the stuff is hitting harder. They got to worry about a potential steal here. I think it's the only way TTD gets back in the game.
And they've got to try for it. Zig spamming away. NIP, they are staying in the Baron pit. They're mostly going for this one. There's one ward left, and then that gets swept out. It's going to be a jump in here, actually, from Zero. Sunny taking a bunch of pain, goes down. Bonaparte jumped on as well. Another kill picked up. Nightmare now in the front lines. Can they find more? Nuke Duck looks for Snow in the back line. Has crits available. One. Jump now back on the other side. Dominating. It's going to be another kill going down. Nightmare has nowhere to go, and Nuke Duck gonna pick up a double kill. Phantom Joe left alive. Not much longer. Ace for NIP, 16-5.
Nuke Duck didn't even bother using his ultimate in that fight. He just started hitting people because he has so many items. Completely destroyed them. NIP is way ahead. This is the last push for you.
There you go. Another inhibitor gonna be the target right now. NIP taking the top lane now. I wouldn't be surprised to see a surrender because 20 seconds to go till most of the team comes up. And there it is. 34 minutes, 50 seconds. Ninjas in pajamas. One game away from the Challenger Finals.
17,000 gold. I think if we were to look at the Challenger Series before it started, you would have said NIP is the favorites going in.
Yeah.
When they did start playing their games, though, you would have thought otherwise, because they had a very slow start to this Challenger Series.
Yeah.
Ever since they lost that first game to SK Gaming Prime in the last round, they've been unstoppable.
Yeah, and it was so weird to look at them because you're like, okay, well, they're getting outplayed, they're losing some of their lanes, their decision-making is a little bit awkward, and then they, like, stomp game 2 and 3. And this one was like they got very far ahead just from laning. You could tell their individual skill. 3 of their players in Challenger solo queue right now. NIP going at it, right? They know they got dropped out, and they've dedicated themselves, playing a lot of League, right? Playing together as a team. They've even been playing rank 5s. In case they don't make it here, they'll make it to the second series. NIP dedicating themselves to making this, and we're seeing it pay off.
Yeah, we're absolutely seeing the results. I mean, Nuke Duck in particular, that was an incredibly impressive Zed.
Yeah.
He picked it late. You do see Zed fairly frequently against Ziggs, so that's not too big of a surprise matchup. I thought he was going to have a bit more trouble killing Mundo in the late game.
Nope.
But absolutely not. Even though the rest of his team played very well, you know, Zoro did die a lot, but he pulled a lot of map pressure up there as well. You know, just the bottom lane being able to crush so well, like pretty much everyone on that team had a large impact.
Yeah, you talk about all the lanes pushing, so one of them's going to go down, but the rest are okay, and you saw that.
They all kind of helped each other.
Exactly. Zoro pulled all the ganks, still worked out for his team. Guys, we got to take a quick break, but when you return, it's time for Game 2 between Tick, Trick, and Duck and Ninjas in Pajamas. Don't go anywhere. The 2014 European Challenger Series semifinal will be right back.